Full moon, as expected. That crazy gorilla and her demon friends should be here any minute to cause terror. But not on my watch.
No one can know about us. I know, it's our secret.
We got the call to help Trump defeat the Democrats. Time for them to find out. Let's go.
Tremendous view, the best. Now watch this, very strong. Swinging, the greatest swings. This is huge.
Surprise, Pelosi! Spider-Man, what are you doing? Just saying hello. Get off me!
Not simple. Cannot escape as lost. Not
You can't stop progress! How about I give it a shot? Oh. You'll pay for this!
Send the bill to the Avengers.
The universe will be mine. I am inevitable. Let me go! I can't do that. You'll regret this! Not today.
Oh my God.
It's great to see you, my friend. You too. I've missed this. Me too. Cheers to that.
over, new scum.
New scum.
This city will rise again. My vote! Time to grab this ankle and spin you right out! Time to go ape! And stay out!
Well, that was quite the intro, wasn't it? Oh my lord. That is a account called DFF on Twitter, and this guy's always putting out these crazy videos. That one I watched and I was like, it's long, but man, like AI can just do so many things. It's shocking. It really is. I want to apologize to everybody first off for the late show tonight. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do a show. It's actually the next day now. It's actually not Wednesday, it's Thursday, but it's still a Wednesday show because, you know, hey, Thursday's news didn't happen yet. But anyway, my grandson just wouldn't go to sleep, so I wasn't going to do a show. And then I saw that Joe and Cynic were still streaming, so I was like, you know what? They're still streaming. It's after midnight. I'll just fire up a show and see what happens. So here we are. Jim's going to tell you some news. And, you know, it's going to be a regular show, so if we end up hitting the goal, which we have on every show, for every $100 across all platforms that comes in, YouTube Super Chats, Rumble Rants, gifted memberships on either YouTube or Rumble or Twitch, Kick, Locals Coins, Cash App, and PayPal. The links are pinned in the chat, and there's a QR code on the screen. You know, any of that stuff, we add it all up. And when we hit 100, we add an extra hour to the show. And as an added bonus, when we hit 50, we activate Bellavision for the evening, which there's Bella, the Bella girl. Let me move this thing. It's all the way over here. I don't like that. There's the Bella girl. There she is, sleeping as usual. As per usual, Bella is sleeping. But so once we hit 50, we activate Bellavision. But if somebody donates $25 or greater, an individual donation, we activate Bellavision immediately. And that could be like a super chat, a Cash App, PayPal, anything like that. Or it could be, 5 gifted memberships on Rumble or YouTube would automatically activate Bellavision for the evening. So we got some news to talk about tonight, folks. And some of the stuff you might have heard about, some of it you might not have heard about. Let's see who's here tonight. We have Snarf. What's up, Snarf? Great to see you. G-Shark, man, what's up, buddy? Great to see you. We got this guy, Pat Patry KK 1910 over there on Twitch. Say, did I get affiliated yet? I've been affiliated since the 90s, buddy. And then Jay Liebgott, what's up? Howdy, y'all. What's up, buddy? Doc's here. Good evening. Great to see you, Doc. Always great when Doc is in the house, in the hizzy. So we're going to start the first story. We kind of talked about this last night, but I didn't have these news stories to go over it. So let's get into this, because this is just crazy. The more I learn about this BLM activist lawyer who wore this thing at the courthouse. So a judge declares a mistrial for 9 charged with ambush on Texas ICE facility after defense lawyer wore a T-shirt. See, they're saying a T-shirt with images of civil rights leaders. Now, from what I understand, it was the T-shirt that did have Martin Luther King on it and some other people, chest something or other, chest chain. But I believe it also had George Floyd on it, and it said, "Get your knees off our necks." So it's a BLM activist shirt. It's not like a civil rights shirt. So there's that. Yeah. This is about that shooting. We'll get that up here. So a federal judge declared a mistrial for 9 Antifa members charged with shooting a police officer while ambushing an ICE facility in Texas because a defense attorney wore a shirt with images of civil rights leaders while questioning potential jurors. District Judge Mark Pittman became outraged during jury selection Tuesday when he noticed lawyer Marquetta Clayton's shirt had images of Martin Luther King Jr., Shirley Chisholm, KHOU reported. It also had other people on it. The court prohibits lawyers or anyone connected with the case from wearing clothing with political messages. There she is. She thinks it's all funny and laughing. Ha, 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 ha. And she's got an inside-out shirt on. She forced a mistrial. She should be sanctioned at a minimum disbarment, or she can be removed from being able to practice in federal court. You're not entitled to practice in federal court. You have to get permission. You have to be allowed in. That can be removed easily, and that should happen. Get your knees off our necks. Yeah. The judge released all 75 prospective jurers while accusing Clayton of attempting to influence them by comparing the July 4th attack on Prairie Land Detention Facility shooting outside of Dallas to civil rights leaders on her shirt. Yeah, that's what she was doing. I'm left with no other choice. I'm really surprised an attorney would do this. The judge suggested it would be the first time in history in American jurisprudence that a mistrial was declared over an attorney's clothing during jury selection. This is what is actually, they know you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do, jury nullification. You're not allowed to do what she did. The mistrial will also cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. The judge warned while ordering a fresh parole of 130 juries to convene next Tuesday. The 9 defendants face a litany of charges, including attempted murder, rioting, and providing material support for terrorists for the shocking attack at the ICE detention facility. They were allegedly part of an armed mob who wore military-style gear, including tactical vests, and launched fireworks at the Prairie Land Detention Center near Dallas before spraying bullets and striking a local cop. Prosecutors said the attack was orchestrated by a North Texas Antifa cell. President Trump has declared Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. The alleged ringleader, Benjamin Song, a 32-year-old former Marine reservist, allegedly shot a local Alvarado Police Department officer in the neck. He was arrested days after the others. The others are Autumn Hill, referred to as Cameron Arnold in the indictment, Zachary Evans, Megan Morris, referred to as Bradford Morris in the indictment. So basically, the government listed their actual legal names, not their made-up pretend names. And Marcela Rudolph, Seth Sykes, Elizabeth Soto, Ines Soto, Savannah Batten, and Daniel Rolando Sanchez Estrada. Several others have pleaded guilty. If convicted of the federal charges, they face up to 10 years to life in prison. They are also facing separate state charges. Defense lawyers for the 8 other defendants told the judge Tuesday they did not believe a mistrial was necessary. They didn't. The lawyers for the defendants, sure, they didn't believe a mistrial was necessary. Clayton, who's the lawyer for defendant Marcela Ruda, declined to comment on the judge's ruling, according to CBS News. So that's the gist of the story there. And this is the local news story, which this is the local news out of Texas. A judge declares a mistrial for 9 people in connection with the ambush of the North Texas ICE facility.
Hugo is car insurance that lets you pay at your own pace. Tired of big monthly?
Just declared a mistrial for 9 people accused of ambushing officers at an immigration detention center near Fort Worth. The suspects are accused of being part of an Antifa cell in North Texas and were charged with the attack in Alvarado on the 4th of July. Prosecutors claim the suspects coordinated the attack online, then launched a planned ambush targeting officers at the Prairie Land Detention Center. According to the indictment, they lured officers outside by setting off fireworks, then opened fire. An Alvarado officer was shot in the neck but survived. The The suspects faced various charges, including conspiracy and attempted murder.
Hey, what's up, Dave?
Jury
Not
selection
that I know
did
of.
start this morning in federal court in Fort Worth, but
want to
now
come on in, Dave,
all
you're more than welcome to
prospective
join the show.
75 jurors have been released, and the process will have to start all over again next Monday.
If you
That's
suffer
crazy.
from headaches,
Oh,
you're
look at
not
us, the
alone.
lawyer that got the
Nearly
people in
4
trouble.
million Texans.
So that's the local news reporting. And then here's this from Newsweek. Who is Marquetta Clayton? Attorney T-shirt causes Antifa case of mistrial. So a federal judge in Texas declared a mistrial on Tuesday after defense lawyer Marquetta Clayton wore a T-shirt displaying images from the civil rights movement. Well, which civil rights movement? In the case, it was. I don't think that T-shirt was worn by. It says, Joe will be raiding you here tonight. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Good to know. Thank you very much, Uzelian. In the case, the prosecutors accused the 9 defendants of being part of a North Texas Antifa cell after a demonstration they're calling this, Newsweek is calling it a fucking demonstration when they shot fireworks and shot a cop in the neck. Yeah, that was a demonstration, all right, a demonstration of their communist beliefs. Clayton's T-shirt depicted images of Martin Luther King, Shirley Chisholm, according to a local newspaper. Yeah, let's see what the T-shirt was. Show the T-shirt. Show it, because there's a picture of her wearing it somewhere else. District Judge Mark Pittman said on Tuesday that the garment could bias jurors by equating the actions of civil rights figures with those of the defendants. Newsweek has contacted Clayton via email outside of normal working hours for comment. Why it matters. The mistrial forces the process to restart, delaying proceedings in a case that includes allegations ranging from rioting to attempted murder. It will also cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. Where is Bella? Well, Bella's here, but Bella does not join the party for free. There's Bella. She's here. She's alive. I'm not holding her hostage. She got to get paid. Yeah, nonviolent protest. Yeah, that's what Newsweek, according to Newsweek. It was a demonstration. It was a demonstration of their psychopathic, behavior, I guess. I don't know. Get out of here with your bulletin. The case is one of the first federal prosecutions testing the government's use of terrorism charges in connection with alleged Antifa activity. What's the price of Bella's admission? A $25 super chat, 5 gifted memberships, or PayPal of 25, Cash App of 25. Or when we hit 50 in total. It's on the it's on the scroll across the bottom. For every $100 in donations across all platforms, including memberships and gifted memberships, the show will be extended by 1 additional hour. And it's an added bonus. When we hit 50, Bellavision is activated for the evening, unless, of course, someone is generous enough to donate $25, either 5 gifted memberships or stuff like that. Hey, Renee's here. What's up, Renee? And AZ Merce, sorry if I didn't say hello to you. Pittman, a Trump-appointed federal judge, abruptly sent the jury out during the offenses while they were questioning. Oh, so if it wasn't a Trump-appointed judge, they wouldn't have cared? Is that what they're trying to get at? He noted Clayton's shirt, which displayed black and white images of Martin Luther King, Shirley Chisholm, and said it risked biasing juries. Yes, I don't get paid to read. Oh, well, sorry. Pittman compared the shirt's message to a prosecutor wearing a pro-ICE or pro-Trump symbols and said the defense attorney would be outraged over this. I don't think I have any choice but to declare a mistrial. This has to be the first time in the history of American jurisprudence, I would think. Pittman also said Clayton had tried to show a poster board depicting scenes of protests that had not been shown to the judge or the prosecution first. According to CBS News, which reported that Clayton left the courthouse with her T-shirt turned inside out. Hey, look at that. Wow. And so with that, we activate Bellavision for the evening, thanks to Dave's generous gift of 5 gifted memberships. So thank you very much. Let's see who got those gifted memberships. It says that Just Me received a gifted membership. Michael Panza, a Buxom Brown Coat, Ozzy Mama, and Moon Safari all received gifted membership from Dave. So thank you very much, Dave. Dave at BTM Reviews. You guys, if you ever want to, this is from BTM Reviews Bourbon Channel. So if you ever want to hear about some good bourbon and how the man Dave, that's right, and how different stylings and tastings of bourbon and stuff, go check out Dave at BTM Reviews Bourbon Channel. He'll get you everything and get you all straightened out, and so you'll know exactly what you should be drinking and what you should stay the hell away from. That's how Dave rolls. And why does that camera look wonky tonight? Is it off center or something? Anyway, it is what it is. So thank you, Dave. I hate when they say they are appointed by as the president only gets about 60% of the judges they want. Yeah, it's crazy. It is. It's nuts. It's nuts. I have to fix the banner too now. So we are now $70 away from the first additional hour of the show. So thank you very much to Dave. Dave doesn't appear on my timeline anymore? Really? Or check out the BTM Reviews regular channel if you want to have a good time talking about nonsense. Yes. Yeah, me and Dave used to do this thing called Theory Thursday. It was a lot of fun. We might bring that back and do Theory Thursdays talking about just goofy stuff. That would have to probably be later after I get done with Joe, because I stream with Joe earlier in the evening. So we'll see what happens with all that business. Give us the link. Yeah, Dave can put the link in the chat. Dave has mod powers. He could pop the link on in to the to the chat there. More than welcome to. Dave could join the show too if he wants. Hey, Trumpinator's here. Remember for 8 months. What's up, everybody? Yes. Thank you, Trumpinator, for being here. So the case is over an ambush at the Prairie Land Detention Facility in Alvarado on July 4th last year. FBI Director Kash Patel said on X that the time that the defendants were anarchist, violent extremists. 5 other defendants connected with the incident have already pleaded guilty, but could still testify in cooperation with the prosecutors. Well, yeah, that's probably part of their testimony. Yeah, Dave put the link in right there. There it is. www.youtube.com / at BTM Reviews Bourbons channel. Yeah, see, there it is. That's it. That's the one. That's the one. That's it. So who is Marquetta Clayton? She's a Texas-based lawyer and a Democrat candidate for judge in Texas's 37th district. She holds a bachelor's degree in mathematics from the University of Oklahoma and a law degree from Texas A&M University School of Law. Her legal career has included work as a criminal defense attorney, family law attorney, prosecutor, and an assistant county attorney in Hood County. Yeah, she was a Hood attorney. She's a Hood attorney before founding and managing her own firm, the Clayton Law Firm. FBI, first time ever, FBI arrested Antifa-aligned anarchist, violent extremists. Yes, there's the other channel, just the regular BTM Reviews channel. No one gets to harm law enforcement, not on my watch, that's what he says. So what are people saying? U.S. District Judge, if you think I want a mistrial, you're crazy. A prospective juror who dismissed from the case told CBS News it all felt disorganized because she pulled out a sign that wasn't approved by the court. The court had no idea she was bringing in a sign. It felt all disheveled. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't bring stuff. It all has to be, for especially for jury selection, you have to, do all the stuff. Patel said first time ever the charges under President Trump authority. What happens next? The judge will restart the jury selection with a new panel on Monday at 9 a.m., resetting the federal case's timeline by at least a week. If the trial proceeds, prosecutors will present evidence and testimony, including from defendants who previously pleaded guilty, while defense teams will likely challenge the terrorism framing and emphasize First Amendment protest rights. You don't have First Amendment rights to shoot people in the neck, and you conspired to do it. Launching fireworks is explosive devices. That's terrorism. So Newsweek, man, is wow. Look at it. Look at the forehead on that woman. Woman charged after joining anti-ICE teen group chat. Yes, hit the like button. Show Bella some love. Hey, Jim, sorry I'm late. Dan, you're not late. I'm very late tonight, so don't worry about it. Everybody's late tonight. Everybody's late tonight. Everybody's late tonight. And this is the story. You guys, if you guys were on Joe's show, you might have saw this already, because I think this is what he titled his show. Because this is a story I sent him. Schumer moves to federalize the pride flag after the rainbow banner was removed from the Stonewall Monument, and he plans a bill to make it a congressionally authorized U.S. flag. That's right, people. Chuck Schumer wants to make the United States gay, officially gay. That's what he wants it. He wants to make the United States officially trans, officially whatever you want to call it, bi, whatever. That's what Chuck Schumer wants to make the country gay. Hey, Saxon Rainey's here, like the later streams. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is reportedly preparing to introduce radical legislation that would effectively federalize the pride flag. Huh. The uproar began when a large pride flag was taken down from a federal monument in Greenwich Village that honors the 1969 Stonewall riots. Jim, how many flags are federalized? Well, there's the United States flag. There's the flags of all the branches of the military. And I think that's it. And I believe that's all the flags that are federalized. So any other flags they try to put in there would be that reason. Like even like, what is it? Like Don't Tread on Me, like flags that are actually from the founding of the country are not federalized. The Don't Tread on Me, the Gadsden flag, the one with the Christian flag. Trump will never sign it into law. No, I don't think it's good. This is simply, I think Chucky is worried about getting primaried by by AOC. So I think this is him trying to maintain, because New York is all about the gays. So he's trying to protect his left flank, commie flank. POWMIA is federalized, I think. Yep, you know what? I think you're right. I think the Palmia is federalized. So there's not many, though. There's not a lot. It's basically the military and veterans flags. And so, like, that one might be federalized. But that Palmia might not be that flag is a separate organization, isn't it? The POWs, Missing in Action. That's a private, like a nonprofit, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But I know it's not a lot of flags. Federal officials say the removal of the rainbow banner was to enforce long-standing rules limiting flags on National Park Service flagpoles to those officially authorized, namely the U.S. flag and certain others. Outrage among Democrats was immediate. New York's officials and activists re-raised the pride flag days later in defiance of federal policy. The episode has now been seized upon by Schumer and allies in Congress as a justification for a sweeping legislative grab. Schumer, joined by Representative Dan Goldman, says he will introduce a bill to make the pride flag a congressionally authorized national symbol that cannot be removed from federal monuments or properties. So that's it. They want to jam the gay shit down your throats. That's it. They want it at every monument. They want to put it everywhere. They want to fly it above the American flag. They want to fly it up your ass. That's what they want to do with it. Yes. I hate these people too. Under the draft language, the legislation would designate the rainbow banner as protected under federal flag law, giving it the same status as other flags sanctioned by Congress, like the American flag. So, folks, we're here, of course, at Stonewall, which is the birthplace of the LGBTQ movement. Is it really the birthplace of the movement? The sacred ground represents courage, resilience, and a fight for equality. Well, no, it was a people that were abusing the law, and they were selling, it was like illegal liquor licenses and stuff like that, legal liquor places and all that. Wasn't that what that was? Yeah, run by the mob. I'm pretty sure. The sacred ground is so important that in '69, as everybody knows, a brave New Yorker stood up as an act of resistance against discrimination. It wasn't discrimination. They were illegally selling booze from unlicensed establishments. That's what was going on. Yeah, Democrats love jamming stuff down our throats. The Trump administration's removal of the Pride rainbow flag from the Stonewall Monument is deeply outrageous action that must be reversed. Is it? I don't think so. When the Trump administration ripped down the Pride flag, it was a direct attack on this community. Yeah, have you seen Schumer's wife? That's his husband, isn't it? It's a man, isn't it? Any attempt to chip away at hard-won civil rights. Oh, yes, always, yes. Always trying to take your rights away. There's a right to hold your flag on a national monument? I don't think so. So, I don't know. Do we want to listen to this scumbag talk?
So, folks, we're here, of course, at Stonewall, which is the birthplace of the...
Fuck you, I ain't listening to you. So the Trump administration continues its assault on the LGBT community. Really? Really, what's the assault? Because we don't want you trans and kids? So that's what you say, you wanted trans kids, right? So Schumer has been a strong voice for the LGBT community. Well, yeah, because he's married to a man. Along with Senator Gillibrand, who's another lesbian, and Goldman, who's a gay man, wrote that slamming the Trump administration's decision to remove the pride flag, calling it for its immediate restoration. During Pride Month this year, Leader Schumer slammed the Trump administration for targeting LGBTQ Americans for their cruel cuts to programs used to diagnose and treat HIV/AIDS. But I thought HIV/AIDS wasn't just for gay people. So why are you saying that? You told me it wasn't just gay people. That's what you said. This guy, if he wasn't working for the government, he would be forced to early retire. Yeah. I hate this experiment. Yes, I do. Schumer's wife is. Have you seen Schumer's wife? Yeah, Schumer's wife is trans. Yeah. Additionally, when Schumer was in the majority, he fought hard to pass the Bipartisan Respect for Marriage Act, which provided federal protections for same-sex marriage in the case the Supreme Court ever overturned Obergefell. The legislation was signed into law by President Biden in 2022. So, can you believe it? Can you believe it? Chuck Schumer to introduce federal legislation to make the pride flag a congressionally authorized symbol. Yeah. No, you know what? I've had it. No. So the move to make the pride flag a symbol would enshrine the flag to similar protections as the U.S. flag. Okay, military flags and the Palmilla flags and others recognized by Congress. Yeah, so there you go. According to the National Park Service, Stonewall is a milestone for gay and lesbian civil rights and provided a monument for a movement. In the early hours, a police raid on Stonewall provoked by a spontaneous act of resistance that earned a place alongside landmarks and American self-determination. The raid was because they were selling liquor without a license. It was all illegal nightclubs run by the mob. Is what was going on. It's all illegal nightclubs. Look it up. That's all it was. And the raid was because they were breaking the law. They didn't have liquor licenses. And they were selling liquor without paying the taxes on the liquor, which the Democrats are the one that put all these taxes on the liquor and everything. So it's weird. Like, they do all this stuff. They just want to keep changing stuff. Yeah, why don't they go put the pride flag at the Selma place on this bridge at Selma and all that stuff. Put it all these other places. Yeah. I have never heard of this historical landmark ever. I don't know when it became a historical landmark. But, having a riot over not paying liquor taxes is, so. All right. And then if we switch over to Maryland, which screwed up and has shit pouring into Potomac, the governor in Maryland now signs a bill that bars police cooperation agreements with ICE. So Governor Wes Moore of Maryland on Tuesday signed legislation barring local governments and law enforcement from making official agreements with immigration and customs enforcement. I don't know that he has the power to do that, to bar other groups in the state from doing what they want with the feds. It seems like that seems kind of tyrannical, doesn't it? Like, what is he, a fucking Nazi or something? Ordering other people, you can't do this, you got to do that? That seems very Nazi-like. The legislation does not preclude an isolated instance of cooperation, but requires the termination of any formal agreements by July. Moore's signature on a bill comes as demon rat states continue to oppose President Trump's deportation efforts, including through sanctuary policies, which are all illegal. It's all illegal. There is no sanctuary from federal law. Maryland's legislation does not prevent local law enforcement from turning over illegal aliens in government custody to ICE, however. Oh, it doesn't? Oh. The Trump administration, for its part, has sought voluntary cooperation from state agencies in its enforcement efforts, though the refusal of some states has led to tensions, especially in Somalia. Believe it or not, some of the Maryland sheriffs, to keep working with ICE despite the new law. Maryland sheriffs have said they will keep working with immigration and customs enforcement despite an expected new law that would ban official agreements between law enforcement and the federal agency. Governor Wes Moore, a demon rat, is expected to sign the law banning 287G agreements after it was passed Thursday by the Maryland General Assembly. Fucking communists. These are all communists. There's a law against communists in the United States. We need to round all these people up and throw them to Gitmo. No politician or legislative body is going to tell me that I can't communicate with another law enforcement agency on matters of public safety in my community. Carroll County Sheriff James DeWeese told the Baltimore Sun. I'm not going to stop. Sheriffs in the Maryland jurisdictions with 287 agreements told the Sun that they would comply with the bill, but they would continue to communicate and work with ICE and are considering legal challenges to the law. This is all political, Frederick County Sheriff Chuck Jenkins said. You can put any lipstick on it you want. It's all political. The Democrats don't want any cooperation with ICE. They don't want any enforcement whatsoever. The counties are Allegheny, Carroll, Cecil, Frederick, Garrett, St. Mary's, Washington, and Wicomico. Cecil, Frederick, and Hartford counties authorize correction officers to screen detainees for immigration status and contact ICE if they are in the U.S. illegally. The other counties with 287 agreements cooperate with ICE only when there's an active Department of Homeland Security warrant. Jenkins warned the new law will increase crime in Maryland. Well, that's what they want. They want more murders by MS-13. They want everything to continue. That's what they want. That's what they want. That's their whole plan. They want more. More crime, and then they can try to pass more laws to take power away from you, to control your life more. There will be protections here for them, so I think they're going to see an influx of criminals, people with criminal intent, maybe criminal gangs, transnational criminal gangs. DeWeese warned that Carroll County will be overrun with public safety chaos once the agreement is signed. Like we're seeing in Minneapolis, ICE is going to be up here searching for them in the community. Hartford County Sheriff Jeffrey Gaylor told The Sun that making an enemy out of law enforcement is insane, noting a lack of communication between law enforcement partners preceded the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Well, did it? And yet we didn't learn from it. We're doubling down. It's completely insane that we would not coordinate for public safety purposes. Jenkins and Gaylor told The Sun their counties would provide arrest sheets to ICE daily and would continue immigration detainers. We said he would continue to notify ICE when someone who is in his county jail without legal permission of the U.S. is released from jail. Oh, Governor Moore backs county's ban on ICE detention sites. Oh. Video. Maryland sheriffs vow to defy Governor Westmore's ban on working with ICE.
Sheriffs from across the state doubling down, saying they will continue to work with immigration officials, even if Governor Moore signs a bill into law banning current agreements. Fox 45's Vincent Hill has more on a fight that could be headed to court. Vince.
That's right, Maxine. Sheriffs from 3 of the 9 counties participating in the 287G program say they may not follow that law or figure out other ways to continue to do what they're already doing. As the General Assembly awaits the governor's signature on Senate Bill 245, banning 287G agreements between local law enforcement and ICE.
This is an emergency bill.
Senate Bill 245
emergency.
is on third reading for final passage.
Many of the state's sheriffs who utilize the program say they won't do away with 287G without a fight.
I'm willing to fight that fight because I know this program has kept my county safe.
9 jurisdictions currently have 287G agreements, which allow detention centers to screen inmates to determine who may be in the country illegally. Frederick County is one of those counties. Frederick County Sheriff Chuck Jenkins says Senate Bill 245 would be challenged in a court of law if passed into law.
What I think our challenge is as sheriffs, I think the challenge here is for us to find legal representation to get this into the courts.
Jenkins calling the bill a violation of rights afforded to law enforcement.
We all have certain constitutional authorities that I don't believe the legislature can just upend like this.
Hartford County is another county currently using the program.
This is good public safety.
Hartford County Sheriff Jeff Gaylor on his stance if the program is eliminated.
We are going to continue to look at and review all options.
Gaylor pointing to a heavier presence of ICE agents in Maryland neighborhoods if the detention center-based program goes away.
Doing away with 287G has been sold by some legislators as the solution to getting ICE out of Maryland. The opposite will happen. You will still see ICE, probably in greater numbers, doing the mission that they are lawfully charged and required to do.
Meanwhile, Carroll County Sheriff Jim DeWeese not mincing words.
Absolutely, I will continue to work with ICE.
Calling out lawmakers who are behind doing away with 287G.
The bill bans the agreements, and in typical Annapolis fashion, they supply no alternative.
DeWeese says whether or not Senate Bill 245 becomes law, nothing will change for his office when it comes to working with ICE.
ICE is not going away, and there has to be a process of communication with them. So I will create a policy within my office to continue working with ICE. It won't look much different than what I'm doing right now.
As the clock is ticking for the governor to decide if he will sign Senate Bill 245 into law.
He signed it already.
Say
Not only will it be challenged, but it puts Marylanders at risk.
52% of Marylanders want to see these agreements stay in place.
Annapolis is trying to pull a quick one on people.
The governor makes the argument he's trying to make the streets of Maryland safer. He is doing just the opposite when he signs this bill.
And right now, no word from the governor on if he intends to sign that ban into law. It would go into effect immediately if and when he does sign it.
Hi, I'm Max.
Okay, so that's that. And then we did have a big super chat come in from Dave, which, knock it off, Dave. Let's show Jim that these late streams are good. Let's get that extra hour tonight. Well, thank you, Dave. And with that, we are now just $20 away from the first additional hour of the show. Thank you very much, Dave. It's greatly appreciated. Can they get rid of sanctuary cities? I believe sanctuary cities are unconstitutional. I don't think cities can decide to subvert federal law and ignore federal law. Like, I don't see how it's legal. They're twisting it and just saying, instead of saying, yeah, we're not going to enforce, we're not going to help you enforce the law, to saying we're going to ignore the law. Those things are different. And I don't think sanctuary cities are constitutionally sound. Like, I don't know why it hasn't been knocked out by a federal court yet. What the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. So some sheriffs in Maryland are vowing to continue working with the ICE in defiance of their Democrat governor. Oh, hey, Jim from Good Logic. What's up, South of Border Panda? Great to see you. Hey, where is everybody? Good to see you, Jim. Well, Tiberius, thanks for coming by. Great to see you, too. CZMK, yeah, what's up? Great. So, Governor Westmore is expected to sign a bill banning official agreements between local police and federal agency, but the move may get some pushback, the Baltimore Sun reported Sunday. The bill may end the 287G agreements, which Maryland counties currently have. The state currently allows two different types of 287G agreements, one that allows correction officers to flag non-citizens to ICE and detain them for 48 hours, another that allows officers to serve warrants on jailed non-citizens, the outlet said. According to the Sun report, Carroll County Sheriff James Jim DeWeese is taking a hard stand regarding how he protects his members. It says, hey, Joe, Good Logic has rated the stream. Well, that's great. Isn't immigration managed by the federal government? It sure is. It sure is. It sure enough is. Sure enough. Wow. Yeah, what's up, Elemental? Great to see you. Isn't immigration managed by the federal government? It's supposed to be under the strict jurisdiction. Gundam Zig says, I made it. Well, thank you, Gundam. Great to have you here. DeWeese also noted the bill bans the agreements, and then in typical Annapolis fashion, they supply no alternative, adding he will create a policy within my office to continue working with ICE. Frederick County Sheriff Charles A. Chuck Jenkins said this is all political. You can put lipstick on it all you want. It's political. The demon rats don't want any cooperation. They don't want any enforcement. So, hey, Patriot Wheel, great to have you here. Rated from the cult. Awesome. Good Logic raid. Awesome. What do you have? Great to see you. What did you miss? Not much. There was a video at the beginning showing Michelle Obama in her true glory. And that's about it. A story about good night, Jim. Have a great night, bro. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for being here. Awesome. Thank you. Just a story about Chuck Schumer wants to make the pride flag like same as the American flag, protected like the American flag. Joe let us all out of the holding cell in the basement. That's awesome. I hope he didn't, tell you it puts the makeup on or it gets the hose, or puts the lotion on or it gets the hose. That's it. He puts the lotion on or it gets the hose. Meanwhile, officials in Maryland's Washington County recently approved a resolution giving their full support for the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, and other law enforcement agencies. The text of the resolution reads in part, the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County hereby declares its intent to support DHS and ICE in its enforcement of our nation's borders, safeguarding the integrity of our immigration system, and ensuring that all persons are treated with dignity and compassion within our jurisdiction. On Sunday, Moore claimed ICE was using their budget to put untrained and unaccountable agents into our communities. That's such a lie, man. Such a lie. And detaining 5-year-olds. That's another lie. It's not making our communities or country safer. Actually, it is. It is. Hey, Jean. What's up? Jean Devalle. Evening, Jim and chat. I had to put the lotion on Jacob Castro. Oh, my God. Forgive me being at Joe's, but kind of worth it with Cynic dropping the N-bomb. Uh-oh. Did he? Cynic sometimes forgets where he is, I think. ICE is the 13th largest military force in the world by funding. Yeah. They're using their budget to put untrained. Such a lie. Such a lie. These people are just liars, man. Just liars. But the claim that ICE is detaining a 5-year-old in Minnesota was debunked as a media lie and demon rats circulated online. The claim went viral after Ilhan Omar posted a local news article wherein Columbia Heights Public School Superintendent Zena Stenvik, oh, look at that, suggested ICE took custody of a 5-year-old boy who was being driven to school by his illegal alien father. Joe told him to? Uh-oh, that's not good. Can we take the tracksuits off now? Well, yeah, but, don't sit around with no pants on, What's this say? Nerd 1. Tracer shows the IP of each node unless it's protected from ID calls. Ping report speed. Use speedtest.net for more ideal results. Okay. Patriot Wheel. Joe did give, then rescind after the fact permission. Hey, Putrid. Hello, Jim chat. Yeah, it's awesome. Joe told him to say it multiple times. No. Did he? Joe must have thought he wouldn't say it, maybe. ICE is detained a 5-year-old. Don't tell me about this worst of the worst. They're such liars. ICE officers protect and shelter the child, the outlet noted in another article. The media blow-up comes as ICE officers are enforcing the nation's migration laws by arresting many illegal migrants, including many who have been ordered home by a federal judge. Some of the migrants have kids, partly because President Joe Biden's deputies minimized arrests, ensuring that ICE officers must guard the children until they can be handed over to the other parent or a relative. Hey, AK Log Cabin, what's up, man? Great to see you. Thanks for being here. There's a dress code? Well, pants are preferred. Just saying. We prefer pants. Number 56, thank you very much. Texas Comptroller Kelly Hancock announced in January that Texas encouraged its sheriffs to work with ICE. Breitbart News, Bob Price reported the state of Texas is offering sheriffs as much as $140,000 to bolster operations in cooperation with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, tying new funding directly to participation in the federal government's 287G program. So there's that. There's that story. And then it's Governor Moore signs emergency legislation banning local cooperation with ICE in Maryland. Joe said he had a card from Nate to use the N-word. Then Joe told Sin a few times to say it. Sin said it once. That's all. Well, I don't think it works that way. I don't think the cards are transferable. So just 1 month into a 90-day legislative session, Governor Moore signed emergency legislation prohibiting local cooperation with ICE, outlawing the 287G agreements in the state of Maryland. The bill's signing is the earliest that legislation has been signed into law during Governor Moore's tenure in office. Wrong answer, Pansar question. I don't know. The bill signing is, ICE is the largest law enforcement agency in America. We've seen the results. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, they're doing a great job. They're doing a great job getting all the illegals out. We believe in constitutional policing. This legislation does not authorize the release of criminals. We do not take violent offenders lightly. Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. It's just a word, if not said with malice. I never use it, but I could. AK God Cabin said, Jim should have over 100 likes by now. I should, but let's see. Where did all the Raiders go? There's a bunch of people here. We're over 200 people watching now. 206 on YouTube. I mean, that's good. That's a lot of people. That's a good amount of people. And, 62 likes. So it could be better, but, it is what it is. Senate Bill 245 and the cross-filed version of the House are emergency bills. So it's an emergency. 9 jurisdictions in Maryland currently have 287G agreements. The other types of 287 agreements as well, including the task force model and warrant service officer model. Prior to the bill signing, Frederick County Sheriff argued the plan would likely end up in court. Harris County Sheriff Jeff Gaylor said that long supported the program and argues that without the agreements, there could be an uptick in ICE enforcement in Maryland. Doing us away with the program, which has been sold by legislatures as a solution to getting ICE out of Maryland, the opposite will happen. You will still see ICE, probably in greater numbers. During Democrats this legislative session, including Senate President Bill Ferguson and House Speaker Jocelyn Pena-Melnick, have been clear about their opposition to the program and working with ICE in general. Banning the program in Maryland has been a top priority for legislative leaders, along with several other ICE-related bill proposals. Most of the Raiders fell asleep with their phone on, Corn Pop. Probably. Joe lulled them into sleep with his dulcet tones. Ferguson pushed back on Gaylor's argument that banning the agreements would bring more immigration action, calling the argument a fear tactic. Don't make me spam the chat. 100 likes and I will shut up. Okay. I mean, if you think what ICE is doing, you're worried about more ICE agents being out in the communities, we have a fundamental problem. Full stop. I don't know. It's not addressing the concerns of the state. The people I represent, my colleagues, we get calls. Oh, you get calls from who? From crazy people? A poll conducted by the Maryland Freedom Caucus found that approximately 54% of Marylanders support giving local jails the legal authority to run background checks on all detainees in cooperation with ICE. The Gonzalez poll was conducted December 21st to January 6th. So, yeah, I mean, most people are for all this. They want this to happen. They want it to happen. That's what they want. They want the law enforced, and they want illegals out. So that's what they want. So, and then there's a special election coming up to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene, and so Trump is going to visit Georgia, and the visit coincides with early voting in the 14th district race. President Trump planned to visit Georgia on Thursday is taking place as voters in the 14th U.S. House District cast early ballots in a crowded race. Hard to believe a black man would not be happy to have more law and order. The president confirmed his visit to Rome during a press gaggle on Monday. Rome, Georgia, not Rome, Italy. We have a lot of people who want to make take Marjorie Taylor Greene's place, and many, many candidates, and I have to choose one, Trump said, referring to Greene by a nickname he gave the former congresswoman. I think it's a great nickname. It's fitting. They say that whoever I endorse is going to win, and we have a lot of good candidates who want to take her place. The details of Trump's visit has not been announced as of Tuesday morning. Trump endorsed Clay Fuller, the district attorney for the Lookout Mountain Judicial District Circuit. Fuller told the Center Square in an interview that the endorsement was an honor of a lifetime. No one has worked for the Trump administration previously, Fuller said. I was an appointee in the first Trump administration working mostly on national security issues like special operations oversight, so I think my background really stands out against the rest. Neuro Pansar Prison, ring a bell now? Rome, Texas. Rome, Georgia. There's also a Rome in Georgia. Did I say Texas? I meant Rome, Georgia. 18 candidates are vying for the job. The March 10th election includes all candidates regardless of party. Besides Fuller, Republicans Star Black, Regan Box, Bo Brown, Jared Craig, Eric Cunningham, Tom Gray, Trey Kelly, Colton Moore, Brian Stover, Meg Strickland, James Tully, and Jenna Turnipseed are on the ballot. Jim Davis, Sean Harris, and Jonathan Hobbs are the Demon Rats. Andrew Underwood is running as a Libertarian, and Rob Rushkowski is an independent candidate. Early voting began Monday. The 14th congressional district includes Catoosa, Chattooga, Dade, Floyd, Murray, Paulding, Polk, Walker, Whitfield counties, and portions of Cobb County. MTG is a proud Subaru owner, probably, allegedly. I think MTG is a communist. I think she always was a communist. I think she was playing a game, and she immediately is palling around. Immediately palling around with Code Pink, which are communists. It's run by communists. It's run by the Communist Chinese Party. That's who runs it. It's all funded by the CCP. Code Pink. It is. Hey, Joe, what's up? Great to see you. Great to see you tonight. Putrid says, "Do you didn't? Lol, I did." Okay. The 14th is solid Republican, according to the Cook Political Report. Harris, who challenged Greene in the 2024 election, received 35% of the vote. Georgia law requires a 50% majority plus one vote to win, setting up a likely runoff April 7th. Putrid says, "I'm not accustomed to streamers paying such close attention to the chat. It's nice." It's a feature of my show. It's not a bug. I try to participate in the chat as much as possible because we're doing this together. Trump is a retard. Who he endorsed? He endorsed Tony Gonzalez in Texas. Did he already endorse Tony Gonzalez in Texas? That's not cool. I don't like that. Hey, Jim. Hey, everybody. Great to see you. Yeah. The Code Pink stuff is very strange. Yes. Hey, what's up? You can look at it. Great. Mm-hmm. Republicans retain Georgia's Senate seat. What's it say? Georgia County fires cop for confronting trans person who used ladies' room. Really? Oh, it's supposed to say, no, you didn't. I did. Okay. Anything more of this? No, that's it. Center Square. And then this is from CBS News. CBS News has been trying to do a little bit better. Trump to visit Georgia as early voting to fill former Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene's House seat continues. Hey, what's up? How you doing, Quack? Red Delta, great to see you. Trump's set to head to Georgia this week as voters go to the poll to choose who will replace former Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Specific details about the visit are limited. The White House said that Trump would travel to Rome, Georgia, to discuss the economy. Trump's visit comes after the early voting already began. Earlier this month, the president endorsed Clay Fuller, former district attorney of Lookout Mountain. Yeah, quack, 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 quack. We have a lot of people want to make take Marjorie Taylor Greene's place. Yes, we do. So that's that. And then this story, I haven't been following it a lot, but I saw it and it was very interesting. The ex-Michigan coach, somehow they're claiming he wins an evidentiary hearing in a criminal case. So criminal charges were not dismissed against Sharon Moore, but his defense team was happy nonetheless on Tuesday after a judge ordered a new hearing. Is that it? That's the story? That's what you have? Oh, okay. Here, no, it's a video. All right.
Michigan football, former University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore back in a Washington County courtroom today. A judge giving the disgraced coach's legal team what's being called an early legal victory. Let's get live to Fox News' Dave Kinchin. He's in Ann Arbor with more on the day in court. Dave.
Yeah, you know, the defense in this case really was hoping to get all of this quashed, but really the judge deciding after taking a half hour to deliberate that he's going to move this forward into an evidentiary hearing. So we'll go to video. We'll break all of this down and what it all means here. Basically, an evidentiary hearing is where they're going to take a deeper look at the evidence in this case. The 39-year-old Sharon Moore was charged with third-degree home invasion. By the way, didn't say anything as he was going into court there, but charged with third-degree home invasion, stalking, and breaking and entering after allegedly forcing his way into his ex-girlfriend's apartment. Now, she was also his assistant, executive assistant. This took place on December 10th of last year when he was fired. And that incident at the house, at the apartment, shortly after he was fired for what university officials called an inappropriate relationship with the staff member being the assistant. Moore's attorney has said that the warrant obtained was based upon false, incomplete, and/or misleading statements given to the magistrate by police. Much of this is about the attorney for the ex-girlfriend calling police, not the ex-girlfriend herself.
This judge looks familiar.
12 unanswered calls and text messages.
I think this is that one judge who's
saying
really good in
stalking
Michigan.
is not stalking if the communication is or has a legitimate purpose. Moore's attorney claims those communications were work-related because they took place during work hours. However, the prosecution says the ex-girlfriend / assistant presented sufficient evidence for the charges to stick, including what they call direct
really
and
funny
credible
with the
details
sovereign
to
citizen.
police, allowing for probable cause to be established and for an arrest warrant to be issued. Listen.
We will be back here on March 2nd for an evidentiary hearing. Judge Simpson got it right in this motion, and due process matters. Coach Moore maintains his innocence, and the truth will come out. Thank you.
Did he break into the house?
Into March. Meantime, the University of Michigan has its own independent probe into the athletics department at the university. That is ongoing. Reporting live in Ann Arbor, Dave Kinchin, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, and Dave, from what I understand, basically the detective in this case was offering up to the magistrate information that was saying, hey, here's what happened, here's what we believe occurred. But apparently the accusation is that they left out the fact that these two were an employer relationship, which I think is key in all of this, right?
Yeah, it's really key, and even the judge said that there are questions about a lot of dynamics of this relationship. In fact, the judge said, no offense to head coaches in football, but he said he did not know that head coaches in football had executive assistants, and so he had a lot of questions about broader nature of that relationship as well, work-wise and personal-wise as well.
March 2nd will be interesting to see how this moves forward. Of course, we'll be on top of it. Dave Kinchin for us live tonight. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah. So judge grants hearing, expresses concerns that ex-Michigan coach Moore may have had his rights violated. Wow. How would he have his rights violated? Yeah, no due process. That's what they were saying. He's getting due process. That's Judge Cedric Simpson. Yeah, Judge Cedric Simpson. Yeah. Was a no-nonsense judge. Yeah, what does it matter if they were in a relationship? Did he break it or not? That's the thing. Like, basically saying like, oh, well, there was a relationship. What they're saying is, no, it's not that they were in a relationship. It's he was her boss, so he had every right to go break into her house because he was her boss or something. Something it doesn't sound right. Like, doesn't matter. Did he break into the house? A judge on Tuesday granted a request for a hearing to learn more about an investigation that led to the charges against the former University of Michigan football coach, Sharon Moore, who was arrested soon after he was fired for a relationship with his executive assistants. Judge Simpson is awesome. I think he is. So maybe this is just I've seen him. He doesn't seem like he screws around. He doesn't seem like he's going to let this go just because this guy was a football coach. Jonah Finn says, categorically false, Code Pink heads up. No definitive public evidence is presented to confirm the accusation that she orchestrated the protesters' appearance. Oh, well, I don't need categorical evidence. She called multiple times to make sure he was going there. She's pictured with Code Pink. Code Pink shows up. That's all I need. She's a scumbag. Marjorie Trader Green. That's who she is. Sorry. I think Marjorie Trader Green actually might be trans. Look at her. I think she's a man. Very ugly. Just saying. That's one handsome woman, they would say, Handsome man. I don't know. It's a victory for Moore and lawyer Ellen Michaels, who was defending him against the charges of felony home invasion, stalking, and illegal entry. Some are fine with only a thin layer of gabardine, to quote Cosmo Kramer. Could be. Yeah, agree. Yeah, Judge Simpson does not fuck around. That's what I thought. So that's what I'm saying. So maybe there's something here. I don't know. It just sounds like they might be trying to make. I don't know. Like they don't have to give all information over to the magistrate. They give the information that says there was a crime that happened. They don't have to. I don't think they're supposed to give everything over. That's what they have. She took a selfie with the Code Pink leader. She's a commie. MTG is just another lying grifter, a true traditional Republican after all. Yeah. Moore is accused of entering the woman's apartment without permission and threatening to kill himself in front of her on December 10th. Authorities quoted him as saying she was to blame for him losing one of the top college football jobs in the country. She had spoken to university officials. Hey, Terry, great to see you. Lady Obama, awesome to have you here. Yeah. Please hit like and subscribe, everybody. Judge J. Cedric Simpson expressed concern that a police detective didn't disclose Moore's employer-employee relationship with the woman, a glaring omission when the magistrate authorized a warrant for his arrest. Neuro says, I'm hard boiling some more eggs to pickle, slicing some jalapeno peppers to add in, gives them a little kick. Oh, shit. Jim went there, saw a penis, and turned around. Just saying. Defendant's due process may have been violated. He's getting his due process in court. This was not solely this personal relationship. The magistrate should have been able to look at that. The woman ended a personal relationship a few days before Moore's firing and did not answer a dozen calls or respond to some text messages from him before his dismissal. Michaels said a coach calling and texting an executive assistant that may times that many times was reasonable while Moore was preparing his team for a bowl game. See, that's the thing. They broke up, and then he kept calling her, and she wasn't talking to him, and maybe she wasn't working for him anymore. Yes. Please hit that like button, please. It's not stalking if the communication has a legitimate purpose. Well, if she tells you not, what was the purpose? What was the legitimate purpose? He was upset that she talked to, this is just, you think Simpson is just crossing the T's and dotting the I's? Maybe. Before Simpson set the hearing, the Washtenaw County Assistant Prosecutor Katie Rismerski said it wasn't necessary and would be outside the judge's discretion. Moore coached the Wolverines for 2 seasons as the successor to Jim Harbaugh, who won the national championship before quitting to become the coach of NFL's Los Angeles Chargers. Kyle Whittingham, who coached Utah for 2 decades, is Michigan's new coach. Michaels, whatever, get out of here. Michaels accused the woman's personal lawyer of giving information to police to villainize Mr. Moore and maximize the chances of obtaining a large settlement from the deep pockets of the University of Michigan. This kind of seems like they're just trying to throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, maybe. So, all right, and then some sad news. 8 people died in an avalanche, and ski guides slammed after deadly Lake Tahoe avalanche, leading people to their deaths. Yes, horrific Lake Tahoe avalanche leaves 8 dead, 1 missing.
Arrived at the location. It was just after 5:30.
Oh, look, another woman in charge of a police department. What do you know?
We had a snowcat that was able to get to
Wow,
about
I wonder
2
how
miles
many
before
perps she chased
they
down the
got to
street, this
scene.
one.
And so from the 2 miles in, they skied in because again, the tracked machinery that, and the potential for another avalanche. So they skied in from there. They were able to locate the 6 survivors. They were sheltered. They had some equipment with them trying to not only stay warm, but they had medical issues as well. They had themselves already started, looking for their teammates
Spuds,
and
what's
their,
up? Great
their
to see
clients that were missing in the avalanche. They were able to locate 3 decedents at the time when they were waiting for us to get there to help rescue them. Once at 5:30, once our team got there, again, extreme conditions. The 2 of the 6 were not mobile. They could not walk because of the injuries they sustained during the avalanche. And we were able to safely get them the 2 miles from that location to the snowcat.
Awful way to go, yeah.
And 4 others were able to get to the snowcat themselves. So all 6 were rescued off of the mountain. The information I have at the time.
The only thing that whole department has chased is a runaway donut.
That of the 6, 1 was
Terry, what's
a
up?
Blackbird Mountain guide, and 5 survivors were clients on that tour. Of the 15 that were on this guided trip, they were 9 women and 6 men. We were able to rescue 1 man and 5 women. So the survivors, ranging in ages from 30 to 55 years of age. 8 of the 9 additional skiers have been located deceased. We are still looking for 1 of the members at this time.
You think the donut was able to escape? It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. So a tour guide company is facing a blizzard of criticism. Oh, you see what they did there? They're playing a play on words. It was an avalanche. They're saying it's a blizzard of criticism. After a horrific avalanche Tuesday near Lake Tahoe left at least 8 backcountry skiers dead. Why, they didn't cause the avalanche, did they? An eerie prophetic Instagram video from Blackbird Mountain Guides, the outfit leading the ill-fated 3-day trek in remote Sierra Nevada, drew scores of commenters who believed it showed the snowy disaster that befell 15 skiers could have been avoided. Yes, it's sad. It is very sad. Damn, yes. The video posted Monday warned of an incoming big storm and featured a guide sifting through the snow showing a weak layer potentially prone to avalanches. Yeah, this weak layer could lead to some unpredictable avalanches. Yeah, legendary race baiting Charlotte dead at 84. That's what that headline should have read. Yes. I make about 3 dozen at a pop. They go fast. Oh, the pickled eggs. Isn't that like a 7-course meal or an 8-course meal or something like that? 2 pickled eggs and a 6-pack of beer. They knew about the conditions in the coming storm. Yeah. Any news on Guthrie's mom? Not that I know of. I haven't heard any news on that yet. They're still looking. Oh, look at this. Spuds gifted a membership. Thank you, Spuds. Wow, let's see who got that gifted membership from Spuds. It says that 30-Yard Wink received a gifted membership from Spuds. Thank you so much, Spuds. And with that, that means we are now $14 away from adding an extra hour to the show. The first would be the first additional hour of the show. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Spuds. Sounds delicious. They should all had beacons on when they went out backcountry like that. Yeah, you're supposed to have like a beacon that way they can find you. And you're supposed to have like a plan and stuff like that to where you know what to do and how to like basically, you know, I don't know. There's the problem is a lot of times when the avalanche happens, it's not just snow, it's also boulders and rocks and stuff. So you get knocked out and hurt and tumbled and stuff. So it's a bad way to go, man. It's a bad way to go. Yes, people should really pay attention to the weather. Yes, they should. Come on, people, let's get this show going. Leading people to their deaths, one commenter posted under the video after the tragedy. Another comment arrived before the avalanche struck and warned of snowy peril. Big danger with big storm. Most of them had beacons that went off when it happened. Okay, all right. Okay. The warning drew a response from Blackbird Mountain Guide's account. We'll see how it shakes out. Be careful out there. The devastating avalanche struck Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. as 4 Blackbird guides and 11 guests wrapped up their days-long expedition. Yes, it's terrible, 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 terrible. 6 surviving skiers who had huddled under tarps after being struck by the snowslide were rescued. In part because they were able to correspond with first responders using the iPhone SOS feature, said Nevada County Sheriff Shannon Moon on Wednesday. Their iPhones all sent out SOS messages? Okay. The ongoing rescue effort has been hamstrung by dangerous conditions, including more than 2 feet of snow falling after disaster and an active avalanche warning in effect. Mine did that, and I wasn't even in service. Yeah. More snow is expected to fall as rescuers search their final missing skier, Moon said. You have no idea who was there, what happened, or decisions involved. Knock off the armchair quarterback comments, one Instagram user reported to a comment criticizing the tour company. But the anger reply drew critics who stood firm that the tour group should have never been out. It's irresponsible to take people into backcountry knowing the biggest storm set of the year is coming and hot and heavy. Did they know that? I don't know. I hope these people turn up alive, but lifers would never be out in those conditions. Red Delta says, crashing, y'all. Long drive back to the Delta tomorrow. Well, drive safe, and thank you for stopping by. Generally speaking, if you don't think you are being manipulated, you're already there. Trust no one in the media, especially those who want to capitalize or promote narratives. I agree. Yes, peace. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office has informed Blackbird Mountain Guides they will be taking the lead on all direct communications and status updates from this point to ensure families rapidly receive the most current details. Previous statement from the company read. So there's that. You know, that's a horrible way to go. And, Here's another news story. This is a news story, I think, out of Sacramento or Nevada County, California. New York has a Rome too. Oh yes, New York does have a Rome too. Let's see this. We'll listen to what these people have to say.
That breaking news
This is in Nevada County. 8 backcountry skiers died in an avalanche yesterday morning about this time near Castle Peak in the Tahoe National Forest. One person is still missing, but that person is presumed dead. Thanks for joining us at noon. I'm Lisa Gonzalez. We have a lot to cover in what is now the deadliest avalanche in California history. A group of 15 skiers were out on a tour, a backcountry ski tour with Blackbird mountain guides. They left on Sunday. It was a 3-day trip. 4 of those people were ski guides, 11 were clients. They've been staying at the Frog Lake huts since Sunday. They were returning yesterday to the trailhead when that avalanche occurred. It was about 11:30 yesterday morning, so we're about 24 hours later now. We do know 6 people survived and they were rescued last night. Of the survivors, 4 were men, 2 were women, but we know 9 others did not make it. We've got live team coverage for you this noon hour on this breaking news. We first want to start with Melanie Wingo, who just got out of about a 50-minute long press conference with a lot of new information. Melanie?
It took them about 6 hours.
Yeah, and the most devastating part, Lisa, is that fact about that we now know those 9 people who were missing are presumed dead. 8 definitely confirmed dead by the sheriff's office today here in Nevada County. 1 person still unaccounted for, but certainly devastating news that just resulted from this news conference that started at the top of the 11 o'clock hour.
I thought it would have been tonight.
We had the Nevada County Sheriff Shannon Moon speaking. Also, Placer County Sheriff Wayne Wu joined in, representative from the Tahoe National Forest, and also someone from Cal OES, all speaking about the massive effort that went into trying to locate the people who were affected by this avalanche yesterday early, around 11:30 in the morning. And then there was a hours-long effort in order to even just get search and rescue teams to the location where they had learned that the avalanche had happened. And as we've been discussing throughout the morning here on KCRA 3 News, and as our viewers who were with us during the news conference heard, it's an area near Castle Peak. There's a location called Frog Lake Huts, and a lot of backcountry skiers, snowboarders, snowmobilers like to recreate in that area near Castle Peak. And that's where these people were on a guided mission with that the black country, I want to make sure I get Blackbird Mountain Guide Company. And that is the company that had 4 guides leading 11 people who were recreationists. And they were going on this mission. It was a 3-day type mission. And then they were on their way back, Lisa. And that's when the avalanche happened. 6 people, as we know, have survived the devastation of having gone through an avalanche, and then they managed to bring search and rescue teams to 3 people who they found immediately after the avalanche happened. And then it was at that point that search and rescue team members were able to find the additional people who we now know have died as a result of this avalanche. I should mention that 2 people out of the 6 who survived the avalanche were taken to area hospitals. They have what are described as non-life-threatening injuries, but they are being treated for those injuries. Still, such a really unfortunate and heartbreaking bit of news today that we received, that 9 people are presumed dead after.
9 people are presumed dead. That is horrible. Hey, what's up? Tony's here. Tony says, been at the VFW drinking. Apparently I missed a lot. Gillian's Mountain. It's Lake Tahoe, so it's the Sierra Nevadas. And then Gundam Zig says, bets, things that go boom late Friday or Saturday. He's talking about Iran, I believe. I was thinking it was going to be tonight or tomorrow night. Thursday night, I was thinking. Probably. Tony says, I was in a mountain company. We trained on how to survive and rescue and recover. That's good. And Gundam says, if you have the time or inclination, well, I will look at that. Is this a RIPA subsidiary company? What, you're talking about my show, or are you talking about the Blackbird company? Mission, survive, and help as many as you can survive as well, or bring back the bodies. Yes. That's really awesome. It is. Gilligan, like in Gilligan's Island. Oh, I thought you said Gilliam's. I must have read that wrong. So, yo, Spud says, what's up, everyone? All news is breaking news when you watch a newscast. Why would anyone tune for old news? Something to make you go, I don't know. Oh, okay. You're talking about this, the banner. All right, I get it now. Let me see what this was that Gundam posted. Oh, okay. All right, we'll cover this in a second. We'll cover that in a second. We'll cover that in a second. So, what was the Sasuke twin thing anyway? Morbid July curiosity. I don't know. I thought they took, didn't they take ripping stuff out of the bios and everything? I don't really talk about it because whatever. I don't know. I misspelled it because I've been drinking. Wasn't your fault. Oh, thank you. As opposed to put back together news. There's breaking news. Oh, I get it. Breaking news, put back together news. I see. Let's see. We'll watch a little bit more of this, and then we'll jump on to something else.
For this avalanche, 8 people accounted for, 1 still unaccounted for after the avalanche. So, Lisa, certainly a punch to the gut when it was revealed by Nevada County Sheriff Shannon Moon that, in fact, we now know that we have a recovery mission on their hands that they're attending to at this point.
And I heard you, Melanie, in there asking questions because I think we were all hopeful that as we got those emails last night at 10:49 p.m., as you mentioned, we thought they were still in a rescue mission, but obviously they needed to talk to family first, and that's why they didn't let us know that it had turned to a recovery mission. And I think we were just all hopeful going into the night, going into the morning, hoping that the news would be different. But as you said, it's just a punch to the gut that we know this is just a recovery mission, and that 8 dead, possibly 9 dead, since that 1 missing is presumed dead at this point. Melanie, also they just talked about, you mentioned that when they did rescue the people, 2 of them were injured, and then they couldn't walk, so they had to somehow get those 2 injured people who couldn't walk, back to the snowcats, which was 2 miles away in this really deep snow in this horrible storm that was happening with gale.
Yes, it was a horrible storm. Horrible storm. Terrible. Just the news just says 8 of the 9 backcountry skiers missing in Northern California. Mountain avalanche found dead. So 8 of the 9 backcountry skiers missing in a California avalanche have been found dead, authorities said Wednesday afternoon. The skiers were buried in an avalanche near Lake Tahoe in Northern California. Now, I will say Lake Tahoe is beautiful. Like, I love going to Tahoe and Reno and stuff like that. Saying Tahoe is nice place. Skiers were on a final leg of a 3-day backcountry trip and were returning to the trailhead Tuesday morning when a wave of ice, rocks, and debris came crashing down on them. 6 skiers on the trip had previously been rescued. Like previously rescued before, like they got stuck in an avalanche before. Why wouldn't you send someone ahead to get the snowcats and bring them back to the injured instead of dragging the injured to the vehicles? Yeah, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? Queens of the Filler news anchors say the same thing 10 different ways. Yes. Hey, Terry, for $2. Thank you, Terry. Wow. With that, we are now just $12 away from adding an extra hour to the show. So that's nice. Thank you very much. I hear Tahoe in the summer is safer. Yeah, I will say I was there. It was summertime, and you see when you're driving. If driving over the mountain passes and stuff like Donner Pass, I believe it's called, right? Donner from the Donner Party that got stuck in the snow and had to eat people and all that stuff. Like they show the signs, the snow heights, and you look at the sign posts, the marks where the snow gets this deep and this. It's some deep 20 feet or something like. It's huge depth of snow gets up there, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Mountains are big. Yes, they are. Mountains are big places. Otherwise, it would just be hills. Donner, Party of Five. Yes. And then this is a backcountry means no easy snowcat accessibility. Helicopters are more useful if it's a real emergency. Yes, I agree. Now you guys know that the Demon Rats basically did a government shutdown for DHS. So FEMA is part of DHS. So it says the Trump administration restricts new FEMA disaster deployments during the DHS shutdown. Well, they don't have any money for new deployments. That's the problem. The first or second time I went skiing, made a few mistakes, and it was dark. Well, I went off trail, sprained an ankle bad, and had a cast at the end of the ordeal, but I ended up skiing down like that in pain. Or no one else would have found me. Oof. Helicopters can't fly in blizzards. Yeah. Well, I think this was after the storm, wasn't it? Like, wasn't this after the storm? The storm was already over. I don't know if the storm was still going on. So the Trump administration has ordered that FEMA to suspend the deployment of hundreds of aid workers to disaster-torn areas around the U.S. while the Department of Homeland Security is shut down. They don't have the money. They can't do it. They can't just do it. That would be breaking the law. There's laws against spending money that's not allocated by Congress, so they can't do it. The new edict comes even though most deployments are paid for through a disaster relief fund that isn't affected by the shutdown. Oh, well, that's what you say. One internal message to FEMA leaders on Tuesday said DHS, which oversees the agency, has directed FEMA to stop all travel. The order took effect on Wednesday. Demonic rats, I prefer that term. It rolls off the tongue better. Demon rats, demonic rats, I don't know. I like demonic rats, demonic rats, demonic rats, I don't know. Demonic rats, demon rats, demon rats, I don't know. They're all good. They're all good. It's all good. It's all good, man. Any travel to areas still recovering from severe storms will now require sign-off from leaders at DHS, which oversees FEMA. More than 300 FEMA disaster responders were preparing for upcoming assignments, but told to stand down, including some of them who are currently at a training facility. Well, they probably can't continue the training because that's covered under the DHS shutdown. FEMA staffers already working on major recovery efforts like the one that happened in southern states hit by Hurricane Helene 2 years ago will stay in the field and can't return home unless their assignment is ending, according to the messages. Cash and Carry says demonic rats. Okay. They're still doing Hurricane Helene stuff. That's not settled already. If we can't get people to Florida or North Carolina to help validate damages from Helene, we can't approve funding for those projects. It's 2 years ago. Why wouldn't the people already have been there? What was Biden doing? One FEMA official who asked not to be identified said, if we can't staff a disaster recovery center in Washington State or Alaska, how can people get help with their assistance applications? Under a CR, there are things they can spend money on, and travel is one of them. Okay. I have a friend who lives in Tahoe, right on the lake, in a gorgeous inlet right out of the tourist brochure. Did anybody report the area was a known avalanche spot? Yeah, they complain about Jim Crow laws. He was a democrat. Can't. Oh, under a CR, there are things they can't spend money on, and travel is one of them. Can't. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Can't spend money on. That's what I thought. That's why they said it. So, DHS issued a statement attributed to FEMA spokesperson saying the restrictions on travel are not a choice but necessary to comply with federal law. FEMA travel related to activity disasters is not canceled. While some non-essential activities will be paused or scaled back, FEMA remains committed to supporting communities and responding to incidents like Hurricane Helene. Weeks before the shutdown, amid efforts to overhaul FEMA and cut costs, DHS leaders have been discussing travel restrictions. Two sources familiar with the matter told CNN. So it might actually be nothing to do with the shutdown. It could be just new procedures. New procedures. Disaster recovery work and travel are typically funded through FEMA's Disaster Relief Fund, which is a separate pool of money appropriated by Congress and not affected by the current lapse in DHS funding, multiple sources said. As of December, the DRF had roughly $7 billion available, so it's not because the money isn't there, FEMA source told CNN. So this is some scumbag that should be fired when they find out who it is. Michael Cohen, a former FEMA chief of staff under the Obama and Biden administration, was critical of the move, telling CNN that they're desperate to show consequences of the shutdown, but the DRF is not affected by the lapse in appropriation. Year 2, and it's still amateur hour at DHS. Whatever. Oh, illustrated by this micromanagement and restless disregard for communities. Yeah, well, like the more anonymous sources. Yeah. Yeah, and then definitely. You missed my donos? You did donos? Oh, shit. Oh, okay, here we go. So, what happened? Oh, here we go. Yeah, so it says, let's go for $2 and then for another 10. Jim, you missed my $2, so here's 10. Well, you know what that means.
Tactical assessment. Red Chinese victory. Impossible. America will never fall to communist invasion. Communism is the very definition of failure.
Well, with that, folks, we are now into our into our first extra hour of the show. That's right. So we'll hide this. We'll do this. We are now $100 away from a second additional hour of the show, thanks to Spuds over there on the Rumbles. The Rumbles. The Rumbles. So thank you very much, Spuds. Thank you. Sorry if I missed it. Even though the money is there, they're under a CR now, so they can't spend the money on travel per the law. Maximizing pain. Obama had the Park Service rope off the National Mall. Yeah, Obama did all that stuff to be a jerk. Yes, Spuds, Jim is slipping. Yeah, I didn't. No one said anything about a rant anywhere. I didn't see anything that said rant. So I have to. It's in a separate window. I have to pull it up to see it. Just like the Coast Guard can't do certain things while under a CR, even though they have the money. Yeah, it is. It's all the way down the stairs, James Gerald Eckert Jr. says. Oh. Yep. Yep. I'm slipping. So one senior official speaking on the condition of anonymity out of fear of reprisals, doubted the order would prevent FEMA from responding to a sudden catastrophic disaster, but DHS has the flexibility to reauthorize these deployments. Ultimately, it's not a huge blow yet, but there's just another measure that makes it harder for survivors to get the help they need. Another high-ranking FEMA official told CNN, it's yet another way to continue to bleed us out and kill the mission. What? What are these people talking about? What to say? Oh, well, if he doesn't want my money. What are you talking about? I did not. I have a separate window I have to go to. Soldier of Providence. Tony says, I'm slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up. I was fighting with dishes or I would have screeched. My dishwasher stripped the outer coating to a pot I abused. Oh, my God. AK Law Kevin says, let's get Jim over 100 likes. He just needs another 15 likes. Yes, we have almost 200 people watching. We should be able to get 100 likes, I would think. I would think that you guys could just, please hit the like button and all that jazz. The travel restrictions are similar to another strict policy put in place by Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem last year, which requires her personal approval for any spending over $100,000. That rule has led to a huge backlog of FEMA disaster emergency preparedness funding that's still awaiting her approval, causing widespread frustration among members of Congress and state officials. Well, I mean, someone has to be responsible for signing off on this stuff, This high-ranking official, your incompetence and partisanship has already killed FEMA missions. Yes. Yeah, remember when they told the people that don't go to places that have Trump signs? Remember that? Like my lame force that tripped, she's fallen and she can't giddy up. FEMA and the sewage spill. The travel freeze comes after President Trump pledged that FEMA would play a key role in federal response to the massive sewage spill in the Potomac River, while criticizing Maryland democrats, particularly Governor Wes Moore. Yes. Following the president's remark, no one tweeted that the Democrats in Congress have shut down FEMA funding, leaving our hardworking employees to work without pay. Yet FEMA is now stepping in to coordinate cleanup of one of the largest raw sewage spills in U.S. history. So far, however, FEMA has deployed few, if any, resources to assist with the sewage spill. Few, if any? We don't know? Sounds like you're just making that up. FEMA's daily briefing on Wednesday indicated it was still monitoring the situation. Trump seemed to clarify his comments on Truth Social, urging local officials in Maryland, Virginia, and D.C. to get to work immediately, adding if they can't do the job, they'll have to call me and ask politely to get it fixed. We don't have that TDY travel problem. We were given less than $100,000 for our entire staff. Trump ain't playing. Oh, that's crazy. In a letter Wednesday evening, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser followed up on Trump's offer, asking the president to declare the sewage spill a major disaster, a designation that would unlock federal support. It should be, right? I mean, I think it should be a disaster. The UN's NMOD Treaty in 1977 prohibits the military or hostile use of environmental modification techniques, including those that could cause earthquakes or climate change. The U.S. is a signatory. Weird. Yes, very weird, Rocky McCobb, very weird. Meanwhile, Moore on Wednesday accused Trump of lying and putting people's health at risk. Oh, it's Trump's fault. Trump's fault. The sewage pipe that he's talking about is on federal land, and over these past 4 weeks, the Trump-Vance administration has failed to act. The governor said blaming Maryland is asinine, is disingenuous, absurd, and politically motivated. Well, we're going to get into that right quick, because we're going to talk about this organization. The story's been updated for details. Yes. So let's do this. Bring this over here. Do this. This over here. Over here. Over here. All right, here we go. So we're gonna continue this story talking about the sewage spill. I have a CDO. It's like OCD, but it's alphabetical the way it should be. Weird. Yeah, it is weird. I worked in the wastewater treatment industry. DC Water crowed about their DEI programs for years. They were diverting necessary funds from inspection and maintenance away from such programs for a year. Yeah, during the Biden administration, it only got worse. Plus, the contractors had to be part of the DEI program, which were influenced the lack of decent, decreased the lack of decent. It's a crappy story, as it is. So the sewer pipe is within DC boundary. I guess the state lines of Maryland should be redrawn. Yeah, no, it's on Maryland property. See, the thing is, DC Water, the DC Water doesn't just supply water to DC; it supplies it to Maryland, Virginia, and other places too. Yeah, stop bad-mouthing the Dems and DHS shutdown. FEMA's not needed. We don't expect any national emergencies. What's your problem? The Dirty Environment Initiative. Yes. Yeah. So, look at Vince Coglianese says, "Show me your shocked face. The guy who's in charge of DC Water is a DEI enthusiast." Who's also named in a lawsuit in the Flint, Michigan water crisis. Dum, dum, dum. CEO of DC Water, David Gaddis, was cited in a lawsuit over the alleged withholding of lead info during the Flint crisis and spent years and millions of dollars promoting diversity and equity at DC Water. Now he overlooks possibly the worst sewage spill in U.S. history, with hundreds of millions of gallons of literal human waste pouring into the Potomac. As Trump wisely said, everything woke turns to shit. The full story below. From the Daily Caller. So we will look at that in a second. And Wokeness says, DC Water Management, David Gaddis. We had too many white men in charge. The executives should reflect the city. Yes, they actually said that. Yes, we never have national emergencies or natural weather disasters. No. So David Gaddis' qualification is where's the dress? I don't know. DC just had the largest sewage spill in history, 240 million gallons in 1 month flooding the Potomac. So here's the guy. Okay, this guy was involved in the Flint, Michigan water crisis also.
You know, when I arrived at DC Water, this was an organization that looked very similar to our industry. It was predominantly, you know, white male at the top, but this is a utility that's, you know, more than 70% people of color work at this utility. And I really believe, and I still believe, and it has been fantastic. The outcomes have been fantastic. But the people at the top, the executives, the chiefs in that C-suite, they should look like the employees that they serve and that they work with. And the same thing with the community. And so my executive team, you know, looks exactly like the community. It looks like the employees, the staff, you know, be it people of color, women, men, and it's just a fantastic team that has come together to do a lot of great things here at DC Water and in the community for the customers. Yeah. You know, when
he says the outcomes have been fantastic. Yes, and by fantastic and the outcomes, he's talking about the outcomes of putting all these people in based on race. So we should judge people by race. I guess that's what they want us to do. The process should start from the ground up. Imagine if the local cops work with the federal government, they would have to access to more resources and still be part of the investigation. Yeah. Federal land Maryland agreed to maintain the pipes the sewage ran through. Yeah. Not the character or content. No, investigation or recovery. Yeah. It's always the same map. It is. But this guy is ridiculous, man. And then diversity doesn't do shit, Blaine Pardo. So DC Water Management Gaddis admitting and actually bragging about hiring people based solely on race. I hope Harmate Dillon is already on this. This is against the law and can't be ignored. Yeah. Setting aside positions for specific racial groups or using race as a primary factor over qualifications. Yes. This is what DEI looks like when it's in water management. Yeah. This woman here that's in charge of DC Water. Yeah. These people, none of these people, besides Gaddis, none of these people have any experience working with waste management or water systems. They're not engineers. This woman standing next to Muriel Bowser with the glasses on, she's the chairman of their board or whatever that was appointed by this guy Gaddis, chairman of their whatever, chair of the board. She's a school teacher. That's it. You know, diversity, equity, inclusion school teacher. That's what she is. When one person is involved in more than one major disaster in a different state, you have to assume it's part of a plan, just like the Vegas, then Maui chief. How many homes have been rebuilt in the Palisades? Asking for a friend on the other coast. As far as I know, 0. Then the C-suite would resemble them. Yeah. It would. They can solve this by hiring only white employees. Yeah, that would solve the problem. DC Water CEO oversaw $520 million in DEI contracts and the biggest sewage spill in history. Yes, crazy from the Daily Call. Here's a photo under the executive's office of the mayor on Bowser's website. Oh, look. Yeah, look at who's. Oh, look, I see woman. Oh, yeah, all these women. They know a lot about sewage and piping and all that stuff. Yeah, so there you go. This is why. This is why the pipe was a problem. Merrick Garland was also involved in the Oklahoma City bombing investigation. Oh, fact check false, Jim. There's one home being construction. Oh, okay. There's one home. Sorry. Never forget the Simple Peter principle as well. Yeah. Wasn't there a concert to raise money? It was a huge concert. They raised over $1 billion, and no one knows where the money went. No one knows where the money went. No one knows where the money went. So here's their advisory council. You know, I'm going to talk about it here. It says, At DC Water, we don't just do diversity. Our mission is to reflect diversity and inclusion in all aspects of how the authority conducts its business. Tony says, I'm an expert at laying pipe, but I am not a good plumber. I saw a photo of the actual blowout section. It's basically a train tunnel built 2 centuries ago. Yeah. Interesting. I don't see those people's chat. Interesting. Translation. Yeah. These people are on, like this one, Rocky McCobb, he's on Rumble, so you won't see it in the YouTube chat. And Jonah's on Rumble also, so you won't see it in the YouTube chat. This includes ensuring that barriers are removed from processes and procedures that impact our business partners, both large and small. The revised business development plan that was approved by the board of directors in June 2020 established a roadmap for engaging diverse suppliers in DC's water procurement programs. Similar to those disappearing pallets of cash. Yeah. The plan set the stage for authority to bring together a dynamic group of partners who will provide guidance and feedback on the authority's procurement programs and its related processes and initiatives. Yes, very ghetto, very ghetto. Our message is clear. DC Water is open for business, but only with minorities. No white people. No white people. That's what they say. White people, no white people welcome. So remember how the signs now say no whites allowed. That's the signs they have now in all these places. It's what the demon rats want. Demonic rats, whatever want. No whites allowed. There's more from DC Water. More in business diversity and inclusion. Yeah. This country has become such a shithole. Yes, it has. Welcome to your DC Water Contract Compliance and Business Development Program. It's a strong advocate of our certified business community is committed to ensure that local, small, disadvantaged, and women businesses and enterprises have equitable access to procurement opportunities. Yes. Yeah. It's like that. Long-haired, freaky people need not apply. Disadvantaged Women Business Program, DWBE. The fair share objectives for federally supported projects. Oh, okay. The local small business LSBE program. So see, they just all these programs to. Look at that. Fiscal year 2022, $53 million for DBE awards and $10.4 for WBE awards. Tesla signs. Yes, we are finally equal. So sick of DEI. Just strange why it get like that, or has it been the objective? I don't know, man. I think a lot of it is they want things to get so bad that people ask them to take more control. You know, Spuds says that they're pushing for a race war. They should be careful of what they wish for. Yeah, they just might get it if they don't watch out. That's not a good thing. We don't want that happening in America. Look at this, more. Construction projects for this, goods and services, a lot of. Speaking of women, sanitary napkins and baby wipes clog the pipe. Everybody lives in hell now. It's crazy. It's crazy. According to AOL, it says green rhetoric and gray water. The left's DC sewage failure is a disgrace. As the Washington, D.C. region thaws this spring, the lead up to America's 250th birthday will bring renewed attention to the capital's monuments, parks, and waterways, symbols of national continuity and civic pride. Along the Potomac, however, the thaw will also bring something else, the unmistakable stench of raw sewage. Yes. Spud says that Idiocracy was a documentary. Yeah, it was an instruction manual for the left, it seems. Seems crazy to me. Seems nutty. Nuttier than a fruitcake. You know? Seems very nutty. Following a catastrophic failure in the major sewer line, hundreds of millions of gallons of untreated wastewater spilled into the river, making it one of the largest sewer releases in U.S. history. Trump announced that he would call in FEMA. There's a a lot of disgruntled vets like me out there trying to be peaceful in chaotic times. We appreciate your service. Thank you. And remain calm. All is well. No, it's not. So a move that should be applauded. Whatever one's politics, federal intervention signals recognition that it's not a minor bureaucratic mishap, but a major environmental crisis. In contrast, the governors of Maryland, Virginia, and the mayor of Washington, D.C., all Democrats, some with ambitions or higher office who routinely champion aggressive climate policies, have been silent. For leaders who speak often about environmental justice and public health, their silence has been striking. Raven says only a couple of homes have been rebuilt, and they're in the cost of about $3 million. Yeah, poop is a great equalizer. Everybody poops. We might expect such a disaster unfolding just miles from the seat of the federal power to dominate national environmental conversation. Instead, it has struggled to break through the noise. There's been no sweeping reckonings about aging infrastructure, no sustained outrage cycles, and no urgent moral declarations from the climate establishment. Yes. Go woke or broke, pipes included. Yes. Did Maui burn down too? How's that been going? Same. Maui's just as bad. I think they're trying to steal all the land. Disgruntled and dysfunctional owner of a DG-214. Adam Carolla has those updates. The muted response is especially striking when set against the intensity of reaction to a very different development in the environmental policy the same week as the sewage spill. This week, Trump announced its decision to rescind the 2009 endangerment finding. Yeah, saying that CO2 was a danger to everyone. We breathe it out, so that would make us all poisoners. So people should be stopped from breathing, I guess. That's what they want. That's what they want. That's exactly what they want. Colin All says that DC water manager Gaddis once praised the city's diverse executives. How's that working out for everyone? How's it working out? Last month, an underground sewage line burst in Maryland near Washington, D.C., spilling more than 240 million gallons of raw sewage into Potomac. I guess Agenda 2030 wasn't going over so well. So 2 days ago, Trump announced a federal takeover. There's a Biden connection. It's too. The CEO and general manager of DC Water, David L. Gaddis, was picked by Biden to serve on the National Infrastructure Advisory Council in 2022 and to serve with distinction as a sole expert on the council from the wastewater utility sector. So Biden put the guy that was responsible for Flint, Michigan, in charge of our entire country's infrastructure. Wow. Stupidity can be diverse too. But Gaddis had another vision for DC Water, one firmly rooted in DEI. Yeah, we saw that. Oh, yeah. He believes DEI has been fantastic. Well, it hasn't. It's been crazy. Daily Callers. DC Water CEO oversaw $520 million in DEI contracts. Yeah, you guys just need to vote harder. Yeah, surely one of these scumbags can be trusted. I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think there's none of them. Not one that can be trusted. Not Nan one. Nan one can be trusted. Yeah, you can't vote yourself out of tyranny. You can only scoot your way out. Escuche Don Corleone. $520 million. Look at that. It's just pouring out of there. While hundreds of millions of gallons of raw sewage accumulated in its pipes, the District of Columbia Water and Sewer Authority was focused on diversity, equity, and other left-wing priorities, setting the stage for what would be the largest sewage spill in American history. DC Water's CEO David L. Gaddis was championed equity and diversity throughout his tenure, and he also named in a lawsuit against his former employer for allegedly withholding information about water contamination in Flint, Michigan. You don't say. Makes sense then. That's why they initially announced that E. coli was 9,900% less than it actually was in the water. Yeah, they actually did that. Before joining DC Water, Gaddis served as Executive Vice President of Veolia North America and CEO of Veolia Water Indianapolis, utility's first black CEO and first black executive. It touts its partnership with multiple municipal leaders and leadership on diversity initiatives. That reputation faced scrutiny in 2018. An amended class action lawsuit cited a Veolia statement in which Gaddis promised the company would deploy its technical expertise to ensure water quality for the people of the city of Flint, touting experience with challenging water sources and contaminant management. The suit claims residents had every reason to rely on Veolia's subsequent assurances of safety. Crazy, huh? Crazy. Crazy about a feeling for you. Crazy and meaning the beautiful feeling for you. Sorry, folks, I got to fix something real quick. Take 1 second. Here we go. All righty. Congratulations, black people. You have highly paid dumb people, too. Ask about taxes, COVID suck, etc., and what happens? Stranger things. Yes. My sole reason for really disliking Nestle. Hey, Joe's here. Good night, brother. God bless. Hasta mañana. Hasta la vista, baby. Wow, with that $2, we are now $98 away from a second additional hour of the show. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, so this is about the $520 million DEI contracts, the biggest sewage spill in history. They had their hand in that water situation. Yes, they did. So while hundreds of millions of gallons of raw sewage accumulated in its pipe, yes, we wrote this. He championed diversity, equity, inclusion. I think we read all this stuff. Yeah, we read all this. Flint water. You guys remember about Flint, right? And Obama pretended to drink it. All right. On to the next story. Ex-Victoria's Secret's CEO, Les Wexner, testifies that Jeffrey Epstein was an Olympic con artist. Olympic level con artist? Or did he go to the Olympics and con them that he was an athlete? What are they talking about? Former Victoria's Secret's owner, Les Wexner, testified Wednesday before a House panel that he was supremely conned by the now-deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein, who managed the billionaire's fortune for decades, but did not witness, condone, or enable any of his sex crimes. 88-year-old L. Brand, CEO, sat for a deposition with the House Oversight Committee in Ohio, where he recalled how the World Olympic con artist had stolen vast sums from his retail fortune just before pleading guilty soliciting a minor, according to a source familiar with the testimony and a written statement. Mama Pillow says Wexner is guilty as hell. Kind of seems like it, but I don't know. I haven't seen any of the facts. I mean, I completely and irrevocably cut ties with Epstein nearly 20 years ago when I learned that he was an abuser, a crook and a liar, Wexner said in his prepared remarks. I was never a participant nor co-conspirator in any of Epstein's illegal activities. So the problem is for newspapers and people going out in public and saying stuff about Mr. Wexner would be that he's got the money to sue and he can say you're screwing up his reputation. So you got to be really careful. You got to have proof. While in talks with the feds in 2007-2008 before his guilty plea, Epstein quietly paid back $100 million for the purported theft of hundreds of millions of dollars from the Wexner family after having as their money manager. Wow. Mama Pillow says Wexner gave Epstein control of his entire empire. He sold Epstein the New York City mansion. He also revealed that he had met Trump well before his successful run for presidency at Victoria's Secret's fashion show, but never observed the real estate mogul with Epstein, either in public or at the financier's Palm Beach home, and did not view them as friends. Well, yeah, I mean, Epstein hated Trump because supposedly Trump was the informant that turned him in. Spud says Jim needs to sit in with Rich and Davey. That would help both channels. Why? Well, that's the third Railify podcast, right? Or no? Is that third Railify or is that something else? He stated that he was never aware of Trump having sex with an individual that either Epstein or his convicted accomplice Maxwell introduced to the future president. The testimony directly rebukes accusation from two House lawmakers who claim Wexner was one of 6 men likely incriminated by Epstein ties. Off-label podcast, right? Off-label podcast, yes. Off-label. Citing the retail maven's appearance in millions of investigative materials released by the Department of Justice. Spud says off-label podcast. Okay. They'll reference nearly 200 times in the files per the DOJ. Wexner has noted that his lawyers told him in 2019 that he was viewed as a source of information for the federal investigation and not a target. Hey, it says third Railify is Sean and Gina. Okay. Do what David does. Morning, Jim. Hope all is well with you and your family. Well, things are what they are. That's what they are. Thank you. So with that, we are now $96 away from the second additional hour of the show. Thank you all so much. That must be Wexner talking to Epstein. The lawmakers, Reps Bro Khanna and Tom Massey, cited 5 other potentially implicated by their association with Epstein, but 4 have been since revealed as random members of an FBI lineup that has no connection to the late pedophile. The 5th, Sultan Ahmed bin Salman, resigned as CEO of logistics giant DP World. It was revealed in the DOJ document dump that Epstein wrote to the Emirati billionaire that he loved the torture video in a 2009 email. What? What torture video? What are they talking about? Federal prosecutors initially listed Wexner as a potential co-conspirator following Epstein's arrest in 2019, but the FBI found limited evidence regarding his involvement, according to an email from the New York field office agent in charge. Well, if that's the case, if they found limited to no corroboration that he was part of anything, why would... Other emails and documents in the Epstein files show that Wexner's remained on the ex-finance advisor's mind just a few years before his arrest. You and I had gang stuff for over 15 years, great deal of it, that she was unaware of. I had no intention of divulging any confidence of ours, no matter what accusations she made. She made quite a few. Epstein wrote an undated draft letter to Wexner. So this was a letter that Epstein never sent to anybody. So why would he write up this email and never send it just so he has it, so the government would find it and go, was he trying to frame him? I wonder. Mama Pillow says whatever Epstein had on Wexner, it was enough to control Wexner's vast financial holdings. Wednesday's testimony comes after several elected officials in Ohio chose to return donations from Wexner, with the billionaire having contributed more than $200,000 to state campaigns since 2020. Maureen Comey's district? I wonder. Yeah. Jane says Jim is in fact holding Bella hostage. Send beef sticks and tennis balls immediately. She will destroy tennis balls so fast it will make your head spin. She just destroys them, pops them. She pops them. Hi, Jane. Hold on a second. I'm thirsty. Oh. The businessman said Epstein never presented him with a woman for sexual entertainment, nor did Maxwell, who is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for conspiring with the financier to exploit and sexually abuse minors. Ever introduce him to anyone or being involved with him professionally. Yeah, Rich and Jim debating Trump with Davey as the moderator. What's there to debate? Trump's the greatest president ever. Wexner also denied that Epstein, who allegedly committed suicide in federal prison in August 2019 after being charged with sex trafficking, had ties to intelligence agencies or connected wealthy and influential people with women or girls for sex. Rocky McCobb says it's funny when a tennis ball splits and you can work it like a Pac-Man. Yeah, but it just, all she does is just rip a big hole out of them and then chew them up and eat them. If that's the case, then wouldn't Epstein target Olympics people? Well, maybe. Could be. Rep. Robert Garcia, the top demon rat on the oversight panel, pressed retail mogul whether Epstein himself had sought a sexual relationship with Wexner, which he also said he had not. The other life he led that we know now was full of unthinkable crimes he most carefully and fully hid from me. He knew I would never have tolerated his horrible behavior, not any of it, the businessman added to his prepared remarks. At no time did I ever witness the side of Epstein's life for which he is now infamous. Yes, definite. Demonic rat. I don't know. Is Wexner old and senile like Biden or no? I think Wexner's 95 or 98 or 88 or something. He's up there. Probably definitely a little senile. Probably most definitely. Wexner says he was conned by Epstein, did nothing wrong. So that's his story. That is, after what must have been quite a prep session with lawyers, billionaire Les Wexner, who gave Jeffrey Epstein about $1 billion in cash and assets, testified to the House Oversight Committee on Wednesday that he was conned by Epstein and denied any wrongdoing. Rocky McCobb says the intelligence services are the remnants of the old Jewish mob. It's possible. That's possible. Wexner was bigger than Epstein? Maybe. In a prepared statement, the 88-year-old former L Brands, which is owned Victoria's Secret CEO, said, "Let me say from the start, I was naive, foolish, and gullible to put any trust in Epstein. He was a con man. While I was conned, I have done nothing wrong and I have nothing to hide. I was completely and irrevocably cut ties with Epstein nearly 20 years ago when I learned that he was an abuser, a crook, and a liar." Wow. Tony says that it's a demonic rat, a demon rat, moose knuckle, camel toe, same thing. I mean, a moose knuckle and a camel toe are similar, but they're not the same thing. They look completely different. That's why they have different names. Maxwell worked for Wexner for the period where she split with Epstein. Oh. So let me be crystal clear. I never witnessed nor had any knowledge of Epstein's criminal activity. Allegedly. 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 Ninja foot. Yeah. So. They use Victoria's Secret modeling to traffic women from outside the U.S. That would make sense. I mean, that would be a way to do it, really. Oh, I thought those last two were jokes about females. What the F? Maybe. I wasn't making jokes about this stuff, though. This is pretty serious. 350 attorneys charging $2,000 an hour drafted this. Billionaire Lex Wexner has submitted a written statement to the House Oversight Committee ahead of his testimony. In the letter, Wexner said he was naive and duped by Epstein. You're just ignorant. I guess I am. I guess I'm ignorant. I guess I'm ignorant. I guess so. I guess so. Wexner denies knowing anything about Epstein's crimes. Oversight Dems, unconvinced. Oh, well, you should pass a law saying, call it the Wexner law, where he has to go to jail. That's what you should do. All right. And this was something I saw, which I was like, what? It says Tucker Carlson detained in Israel. This can't be true, can it? Demonionist. Yeah, demonist. Demonunist. Maybe. 77 Radio was contacted by a source with the Consulate General in Israel regarding reports Tucker Carlson was detained or interrogated during a recent visit. Rocky says, I met a Ukrainian broad who asked me for a picture of myself as a child, claiming they could reset my DNA with use of it. What? I don't think so. She probably just wanted to steal your identity and give it to someone else. Contrary to reports, Tucker Carlson's entourage were not detained, delayed, or interrogated. Mr. Carlson's party were politely asked a few routine questions in accordance with the standard procedures applied to many travelers. So he got randomly pulled out for additional screening. And isn't all the screening U.S. anyway? Assassinated men tell no tales, yes. The conversation took place in a separate room with the VIP lounge solely to protect the privacy and avoid conducting such a discussion in public. Wow. Sorry, Michael Jefferson. Okay. You were counting Michael Jackson on South Park. Oh, yeah, no. Oh, yeah. Allegedly. No unusual incident occurred, and Israel Airport Authority firmly reject any other claims. Wow. Wow. Trump told Tucker Carlson to tone down the anti-Israel rhetoric. Wonder what Tucker's going to do about that. President Trump has urged former Fox News host Tucker Carlson to tone down the rhetoric on Israel, according to reports. Oh, man. As the right becomes more divided on the topic of Israel, Trump has reportedly asked Carlson to turn down the temperature. That's what former Fox Business anchor Melissa Francis said. Huh. You're selected for TSA scans. Okay. Everybody's looking for a way to turn down the temperature, Francis said, according to the Jerusalem Post. President Trump is telling everyone, including Tucker, let's take this down. On his podcast, Carlson had guests on that have been critical of Israel and has said that it's very outspoken against Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Oh, man, I'm fucking exhausted. This is rough.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome journalist, author, and American citizen, Tucker Carlson.
So fun! Thank you! Oh, this is wild. Thank you! I've been... Good to see you. Thank you. I feel like I know about half the people in the room. This is wild. What are you doing? Justin Wells. Thank you, guys. Can I just say, Peter Navarro is back. Welcome to Peter Navarro. Suffering the fate that has happened to so many who are friends with Donald Trump. Thank you for having me. I have been to many conventions. I have never been to a more fun convention or a convention with better vibes. They literally let Navarro out of prison. First of all, thank you. This feels a lot different from what I thought it was going to feel like. I can't hear you, but I know it's something good. So I watched the video of what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania about 50 times. I think I was one of about 8 billion people around the world who watched it. And the more I watched it, the more it struck me that everything was different after that moment. Everything. And this convention is different. The nation is different. The world is different. Donald Trump is different. When he stood up after being shot in the face, bloodied, and put his hand up, I thought at that moment, that was a transformation. This was no longer a man. Well, I think it was divine intervention. But the effect that it had on Donald Trump, he was no longer just a political party's nominee or a former president or a future president. This was the leader of a nation. And I think there's a difference. I've spent most of my life in Washington where the...
All right, I thought this was going to be about the story, but it's not. Last year, Carlson was on a popular podcast. Host Theo Von's podcast recalled the Israeli finance minister Bezalel Smotrich, the enemy of civilization. Other Republicans critical of Israel have been former Georgia Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Kentucky Rep. Thomas Massey. The war in Gaza began October 7th when Hamas launched a surprise attack in Israel and killed 1,200 people and took many hostage. Hundreds of thousands of civilians in Gaza have been killed. Hundreds of thousands of civilians have been killed. Hundreds of thousands of civilians have been killed since the war began. Really? Hundreds of thousands? I doubt that. She also told some Jamaican that they were both reincarnated Egyptian. I couldn't tell who was counting whom. They're just ignorant. Yeah, make sure you hit that like button. Selected for TSA scans. Wexler had Maxwell get girls for him for a few years. Really? For Victoria's Secret stuff or for sex? So Tucker and Trump are on opposing anti-American teams. I don't know. I need to watch the recent Tucker Mike Huckabee interview. Yeah, it might be. Which one? F. Tony says ending people and keeping them alive is a similar struggle with different objectives. Chemistry is just weird. How am I supposed to know what molecule reacts with another? I don't know. Joey Cannoli, great stream tonight. Yeah, give Joey Cannoli a follow. Is he the? Is that him? This. Not buying it. Grip. Okay. I was a soldier, then an EMT as I worked through college to get a major in biology and a minor in psych. Chemistry was my Achilles heel. Chemistry is fun. You got another raid? I got another raid? Oh my God, that's crazy. Reliable Source, WABC owner John Katzimasidis is the unnamed billionaire who complained about the different prices for Ozempic in England versus U.S. Oh. Well, that's, hey, howdy. Great to see you. So, according to a report published earlier this year, poll shows that 23% of Republicans between the age of 18 and 44 believe the United States should increase support for Israel. I don't know about that green. Allegedly. Nothing more there? That's the end of it? Okay, I guess that's the end of that story. The Jerusalem Post says Tucker Carlson visits Israel for sit-down with Huckabee. He wouldn't leave the airport. The model may be correct, but what works. I seen was in a capstone, which was inside some tentacled thing. Conservative personality Tucker Carlson visited Israel briefly on Wednesday for a film sit-down with Ambassador Mike Huckabee, focused on claims about the treatment of Christians in Israel and the wider region. I was rated by Joey Cannoli. Well, that's okay. Wow. Big news. According to sources, Carlson conducted the conversation inside Ben Gurion Airport and did not travel beyond the airport complex. He departed Israel around 3 p.m., ending the trip that lasted only a few hours. The unusual in-and-out visit followed a public back-and-forth between the two former Fox News hosts after Carlson published an episode in early February filmed at the Jordan River baptism site entitled Christian Persecution. Tony says, I had to get my GED to join the military. I never took high school chemistry. I was always trying to catch up. Well, it's never too late. It's never too late to catch up all the stuff you should have learned. In the episode, Carlson interviewed Anglican Archbishop of Jerusalem, Hassan Naroum, and a Jordanian Christian businessman, presenting a case that Israel treats its Christian population and that American Christians are unknowingly funding that mistreatment through U.S. aid. I thought we cut it all off. Old article making a comeback or updated. This just happened. This is just being reported as of, Huckabee responded on X on February 5th, writing, hey, Charles, instead of talking about me, why don't you come talk to me? So, the sit-down comes at a tense moment in American conservative politics. Hey, Joey Cannoli, do you know Tony Ravioli by chance? Biology was cool, but chemistry was more like math, so I liked it. Yes, could be. Could be. Let's see here. Could be. All right, we got this story. I got the worst grades in geometry because my teacher was a hard ass and a mad Amadan. A Mason. Okay, a Mason. Wow. New Jersey prosecutors dropped racketeering case against influential Democrat power broker and co-defendants. Oh, what do you know? So if it's different if you're a Democrat. New Jersey acting attorney general said Tuesday she will not ask the state Supreme Court to review the dismissal of racketeering charges against Demon Rat power broker Georgie Norcross III and those charged alongside him. You speculated at the time for illegal and illegal needs, only Maxwell can say for sure now. I mean, yeah. What's wrong with that? The decision by Jennifer Davenport, who was recently appointed by the new governor, Mickey Sherrill, came nearly 3 weeks after a three-judge appellate panel upheld the state judge's decision to toss the criminal charges. The indictment has been obtained by Matt Platkin, who served as Attorney General under Sherrill's predecessor and fellow Demon Rat Phil Murphy. It says, Demon Rat power broker George Norcross was seen in 2019, and 5 others were accused of running an enterprise going back to 2012 to use their political influence to craft legislation to serve their own interests. I mean, isn't that what they all do? Is that what all lobbyists do? In light of the appellate division's decision, we have concluded that our prosecutorial resources will be better spent on other matters, the Attorney General's office said in a statement. Republicans also suck. These are all Democrats in New Jersey. It's Democrat on Democrat crime. Violence, whatever. The charges stem from a June 24 indictment announced by Platkin at a news conference at which Norcross himself took the unusual step of appearing in person and sitting directly in front of the Attorney General. Yes. The entire system is fooked. It is. It's fooked. The entire system is fooked. Norcross and 5 other defendants were accused of running an enterprise going back to 2012. But in a nearly 100-page ruling, the state judge found the prosecutor's allegations did not amount to criminal coercion or extortion and are time barred. So which is it? Are they time barred or did it not meet the standard? Why would you say both things? Norcross's lawyers have long maintained his innocence, claiming the indictment was politically motivated, an allegation Platkin has repeatedly denied. So it's a Democrat power broker getting indicted by a Democrat politician says, huh. Yeah, what you focus on. Okay. Hasidics, kids too, in Israel spit on Christian tourists, something they rarely, if ever, used to do. What? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? That don't make no sense, man. That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. No sense whatsoever. No sense. No sense. Norcross's lawyers among, yeah. Okay. So he served as executive chairman of the insurance firm Connor Strong and Buckaloo. Hi, Buckaloo. Has been widely viewed among the most influential unelected demon rats in the state. He was a Democrat National Committee member until 2021 and previously served as head of the Camden County Democrat Party. Wow, interesting. Oh, Pulp Action figure actor Peter Green's tragic cause of death revealed. Really? Oh my God! I thought it was natural something or others. She says New Jersey prosecutors drop power brokers racketeering case. Prosecutors drop racketeering case against New Jersey Democrat power broker and co-defendants. Maybe nothing. We are good at something. Everybody's a genius. If you judge a fish by his ability to climb a tree, it will spend its whole life feeling that is stupid. What? All right. Okay. And we got this. We got the Demon Rats planned boycott of Trump's State of the Union address with a lefty rally. Democrats are plotting to boycott President Trump's State of the Union address next week and host an alternative rally after being widely panned for their rowdy behavior during his marquee speech last year. Dubbed the People's State of the Union, multiple Demon Rats are planning to assemble on the National Mall near the Capitol and rail against Trump during his primetime spectacle. Why are you calling it a spectacle, New York Post? Lefty media outlets Midas Touch and a progressive group Move On are organizing a State of the Union knockoff, but top party leaders said, such as Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, are expected to attend Trump's address. I wouldn't worry about it, dude. I've been called many things myself. Okay. Leftist media outlets. Yeah, so. My current plan is to attend, Jeffrey told reporters Wednesday. We're not going to Donald Trump's house. He's coming to our house. It's my view that you don't let anyone ever run off of your block. You don't ever let anyone run you off of your block. Right now, it's not fully clear how many Democrats intend to partake in the alternative event, though at least about a dozen have confirmed their plans to do so. Several demon rats have boycotted Trump's 2025 speech. Fletcher says that, Jim, a lot of times a successful prosecution isn't necessary in influence cases. Just exposing them makes contributions dry up. Ballsy power move there. Demon rats eat their own often. The Dem needed to grow up so people want to vote for them again. Okay. All right. It says at least 12 Democrat lawmakers plan to boycott Trump's State of the Union address. The perfect time for some fire and brimstone. At least a dozen Democrat members of Congress plan to boycott President Trump's State of the Union address. That's just petty. That's just being petty. They're going to hold a rally on the National Mall. Progressive group Move On and Midas announced Wednesday they're hosting the People's State of the Union. Now, it would be considering DHS has been defunded and they can't get money, who's going to provide security for all these people on the National Mall? Yeah, Democrats can't behave themselves and wouldn't stand up for a little boy last time. Yeah, they wouldn't stand up for the little boy with brain cancer. That's crazy. The lawmakers planning to skip the speech and attend a rally, according to the organizers, Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts, Jeff Merkley of Oregon, Chris Murphy of Connecticut, Tina Smith of Minnesota, Chris Van Hollen of Maryland. The guy who had margaritas with the Maryland Man MS-13 member. Greg Cesar of Texas, Veronica Escobar of Texas, Pramila Jayapal of Washington, Della Ramirez of Illinois. Oh, you're just kidding. And Bonnie Watson Coleman of New Jersey. Why do people's events usually end in gunfire? Well, low impulse control. That's what I would say. That's what I would classify it as, low impulse control. Next week, Trump will deliver a State of the Union. I won't be there, Van Hollen wrote. Murphy said in a statement that Trump's made a mockery of the State of the Union. Oh, these fucking people. Instead of sitting through what has become President's annual self-congratulation misinformation. Oh, whatever. Fuck off. White House spokesman Abigail Jackson criticized the demon rats for voting against tax cuts and opposing their other parts of Trump's agenda, like border security. Vince, what's up? He says, they're just freaking petty. Nancy tearing up the speech totally planned. She could have gone to jail for that by destroying official federal documents. Yes, it is a crime. Yeah, all freaks and degenerates. Yes, all freaks and degenerates. So nothing new there. Add their temper tantrum to the address. I don't know why these people do that anyway, unless it's a weird power thing. Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, folks, my house, bitch. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have any more stories. I ran through these very fast tonight, so I'm going to have to resort to. This is the last story I had lined up. I can't believe I went through 14 stories. Although, there was that one thing I wanted to pull up. Yes, this thing. Watch this.
This is The Wire for 2300 Zulu, February 18th, 2026. Precedence is routine. Information cutoff is 2200. Bottom line up front. Surge of American military forces continues in the Middle East. Iranian forces dig in by reinforcing key sites and military facilities. Beginning with international events, in the Middle East, the surge of American forces continued overnight with a total of 6 E-3 Sentry AWACS aircraft completing their movement into theater overnight. Early this morning, multiple flights of KC-135 refueling tankers crossed the Atlantic in flights of 5 aircraft at a time, landing at various bases along the way before making their way into CENTCOM. So far, roughly 25 tankers have flown into CENTCOM over the past few days, along with many other support and logistics aircraft. This morning, the USS Gerald Ford was detected on AIS receivers off the coast of Morocco, having made the Atlantic crossing sooner than expected. Analyst comments for this wire. Timeline-wise, if the U.S. intends to kick things off on Friday after the stock markets close or early Saturday morning, everything is lining up to support strikes taking place this weekend at the earliest. However, lunar illumination peaks to over 90% next weekend, which would provide an optimal window for various nocturnal activities. On the diplomatic front, all sides are putting up a false front, with both the United States and Iranian diplomats stating rather sheepishly that no agreements have been reached, but the talks have so far been positive. However, a nation does not move nearly a quarter of her air force and a third of her navy overnight if things are going well. The cessation of talks, even on positive terms, reflects the reality of the situation, which the Iranians have been preparing for. IRGC forces have been fortifying sites around the country for weeks, with signs of late-stage preparations being made. At the Isfahan nuclear site, for example, all of the tunnel entrances have been covered with dirt. These fortification efforts were conducted sometime between January 22nd and February 13th, when commercial satellite imagery passes were conducted. This aligns with other fortification efforts observed around the country, most of which are last-ditch efforts that are only usually undertaken in sheer desperation in the days before strikes begin. So if all of this is one giant psyop to apply pressure for negotiations, it might be working a little too well. The Iranians seem to be very convinced that they will be bombed no matter what, so it's likely that they have no reason to negotiate at all at this point, especially since the latest round of talks has concluded with no future date yet scheduled for the next round of talks. Consequently, even though all sides have made statements of polite indifference toward peace talks, actions speak louder than words, and all sides are moving into the final stages of a major military campaign at breakneck pace. This concludes The Wire for 2300 Zulu, February 18th, 2026.
Oh, that was good. Thank God shovel-faced J Appel won't be there. This is an older one, so I don't want to watch an older one. I'm gonna have to go to do something here. I'm gonna have to resort to Twitter scrolling. Let's see here. The Key Bridge has not been rebuilt. There's raw sewage flooding the Potomac River. Democrat Westmore signs emergency legislation to ban local authorities from aiding ICE and removing illegals from Maryland. Oh, this is a misdirection, useful disinformation. You are being given the information they want you to know. We will see what actually transpires. Yes, I know. That's all we can do is just, all we can do is just see the information and see how it turns out. That's all we can really do. That's all we can really do. Really. That's all we can do. That's it. That's all we can do. Bella has a new pillow. No, she doesn't have a new pillow. She's just laying on her blankie. Jonathan. Where is Choosy? He would understand and have my back. No, I understand your back. I have your back. There were explosions in Tehran today, a military fuel site, which the regime called arson. There was another at a base. Dashboard camera, Mahatosi, covered it. That's why all theory and not anything more with that. Yeah. We'll see. Democrats are trying to destroy America.
245 House.
We have another announcement.
Senate Bill 245, House Bill 444, Public Safety, Immigration Enforcement Agreements Prohibition. We'll have the first, the sponsors.
All right, whatever. So yeah, so there's that. All right, let's do this. We're gonna go to bookmarks and see what's I got. Oh, check this out. This is very interesting, right? Update. Jermaine Lynn Long, the man arrested for slashing the neck of a 13-year-old teen in Daytona Beach, is a registered sex offender with a lengthy criminal history. Seriously, put up a picture of Iran's flag. That is lady parts. Enjoy the cheap gas. Won't be cheap for long. Iran probably shouldn't hire Mossad to perform maintenance at military installations. Yeah, it's not a good idea, really. It's not really a good idea. You know? He was let out of custody just 4 days before the Daytona Beach attack when prosecutors dropped charges against him after he reportedly attacked 2 other men with a knife. Why does this keep happening?
Be ordering that should be held without bond.
Long is a registered sex offender and has a lengthy criminal history in Volusia. Most recently, he was arrested in January for allegedly trying to hurt 2 men with a knife and then hit them with a large pole. Prosecutors dropped the charges, though, and he was released from jail just 4 days before the incident with the Clark family.
Be ordering that should be held without bond.
Long is a registered sex offender and has a lengthy.
Wow. 13-year-old boy was nearly killed after a man randomly slashed his neck in Daytona Beach, Florida. The alleged attacker targeted the teen while he was walking along the boardwalk with his family. Doctors say that just 1 millimeter deeper could have been fatal. You probably won't hear about this from the mainstream media since it doesn't fit the narrative. It should have been handled It should have been handled right then and there. Yeah, watch white people find a way to make this about race. Yeah, his county arrests from the past 4 years. Look at this. Huh. 15, 14, 114, 215, 2015, 1016. Wow. How many priors? The Arena-Zarutska Act. Any judge releasing a violent criminal more than 3 times will be disbarred, impeached, and may be held liable for damages caused by the criminals they keep releasing. That would be nice, right? That would be nice. Yeah. Bartenders go to jail for over-serving drunks who kill someone, so judges should face jail time when their criminals they release do the same. Yeah. Here's James Woods talking about the bill that was signed into law in Maryland about the, no longer going to work with ICE to get rid of the illegals. Should have done Iran in 1980 and the second and last hostages landed in Germany. Know who was involved in the Iran deal to release the hostages? Epstein. Yeah. Well, Epstein was involved in Iran-Contra. So meanwhile, Rachel Marin was brutally raped and killed while hiking. Dakara Thompson was murdered in Prince George's County, and Kayla Hamilton was strangled in her own home by an MS-13 gang member. All 3 killers were illegal aliens. All 3 women were slaughtered in Maryland. Yeah. And just like that, one signs emergency legislation banning local cooperation with ICE. That's a good point about the bartenders and judges. That's what I say, Pell. For the love of God, why am I the only person who can talk about this? Iran's flag is pornography. I don't know. So this news is interesting. And I would really like a lawyer to talk about this. James Woods is from Rhode Island, and he donated a lot of money after his brother died in a local hospital. He's also a member of Mensa. That's what they say. They say he's really, really smart. That's what they say. 2C is a wishful lad. He's going to be very happy with Trump just protecting the oil fields and nuke sites. Says the Judicial Conference has released a new policy that could materially alter the character of the federal courts, allowing judges to comment on what they deem to be illegitimate forms of criticism and attacks. This is not just injudicious, it is dangerous. Jonathan Turley. The added freedom afforded to judges to engage in commentary will do little to change the debate. It may, however, greatly erode the trust in what was once considered our least dangerous branch. We don't consider it that anymore. We consider it one of the most dangerous branches because they do all types of stuff they're not supposed to do all the time. All the time. All the time. Given increasingly injudicious comments, one would think that Chief Justice Roberts and the Judicial Conference would seek to tighten, not loosen, the limits on judicial commentary. I am not suggesting that these past statements be viewed as acceptable under the new rules. However, I fail to understand, in the light of such controversial statements, the conference elected to relax the rules at this time. In my view, Chief Justice Roberts and the conference have enabled other jurists to engage in such commentary to the detriment of the judiciary. They will now face a slippery slope on what constitutes a measured defense by judges eager to further push the envelope on allowable commentary. Gundam Zig says, just pisses me off that a bridge I knew since childhood got wrecked and the tards in Maryland cannot un-F themselves to replace it. The design looks like shit too. That's the Key Bridge, right? Is that the Key Bridge? Listed as white, no doubt. Probably. This is a wild breaking. This is a wild one. DHS announced the ICE arrest of a Liberian illegal alien who they said was working as a Minnesota corrections officer. While also being AWOL from the Pennsylvania National Guard, all while masquerading as a U.S. citizen despite having no legal status in the U.S. DHS says 45-year-old Morris Brown was identified as part of a major operation into Minnesota investigation of aliens involved in fraud. Yes, aliens involved in fraud. Aliens involved in fraud. Say that 3 times fast. Yes. He's also alleged to have committed marriage fraud and made repeated false claims to U.S. immigration authorities. This is who they're fighting to keep. Unreal. Matthew Brainer, a Democrat-appointed Superior Court judge in California, ruled that Rady Children's Hospital must continue offering gender-affirming care to minors despite the hospital's decision to stop it. Activist judges are forcing hospitals to trans kids. Unfreaking believable.
It's fair to say, or is it not? Right now, the issues that are in flux.
A judge here in downtown San Diego ruled that Rady Children's Hospital will need to continue offering their gender-affirming care at least through March 10th, with the exception of any major surgeries.
Are you being a little preemptive at this point?
I'm Dana Williams, a reporter with NBC here in San Diego. You may remember all of this came in mid-January when Rady Children's Hospital came out and said they were halting all gender-affirming care for patients under the age of 19. And why they did this, they say they were concerned after a mid-December declaration from RFK Jr., Secretary of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, that said that any hospital that does offer gender-affirming care could be at risk of losing federal funding and losing out on federal programs like Medicare and Medicaid.
Right, I think it's a risk that we cannot take. There are 800,000 kids with hundreds of thousands of emergency room visits per day. And that is the impossible situation we are in right now.
Then that decision put them really in between the federal government and the state government. And Attorney General of California, Rob Bonta, came in and filed a lawsuit against Rady Children's Hospital, saying that they cannot decide by themselves to no longer offer gender-affirming care. And that was part of the decision made today.
How? Wait. And while the how is the hospital not able to say they don't want to do that? I don't understand. I don't understand how the state says, oh, no, you have to do this. You have to mutilate kids. What? Fortune Freedom says, I follow James Wood on X. He's brilliant. Yes, he is. And San Diego, too. Good for them. Yeah.
Council, will the attorneys on both sides work on what to do moving forward. The judge said, Rady, you need to continue to offer most of your services in the meantime. Rady Council, though, hunkered down and reiterated that they are so concerned about losing this funding. They called it an imminent risk. The judge says in the event that they get a notice from HHS that they will lose federal dollars, they'll be back in this courtroom within 24 hours to try to figure out what to do next. Again, all of this really only lasting until March 10th when the next hearing is scheduled to happen.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Judge tells a private company what services they must offer. That's called communism, fascism. These are the fascists. This is a crazy story. Department of Transportation audit of Illinois' Secretary of State's office finds major non-compliance related to issues of non-domiciled commercial driver's license and learning permits. Jim, it's not just the blue states. Nashville elected a woke mayor who replaced our power company with DEI hires. After the latest ice storm, it was a complete disaster. Our state is working to fix it. Define gender-affirming care, mutilation as opposed to counseling. Well, that's what they're saying. They got to provide all the services. Saying can't stop any services. The Department of Transportation found that Illinois Secretary of State's office issued more than 10,000 unexpired, non-domiciled foreigners of varying immigration status, CDLs and CLPs. The Department of Transportation has ordered the Illinois Secretary of State's office to immediately pause the issuance of all new, renewed, transferred, amendment, corrected, reprinted, upgraded, non-domiciled CLPs and CDLs until the FMCSA provides written confirmation that the state's corrective action plan has been accepted and implemented. DOT also threatened to withhold any federal highway funds. Some of the findings are shocking. Oh, they just do it to initial citizenship unknown, citizenship unknown, citizenship unknown. Wow, that's great. Look at all this. Oh, Kyrgyzstan. Oh, that's great. Just great. Just great. This smells really dirty, just Julie Kelly says. Illinois Secretary of State employees gave CDLs to foreigners without proper immigration documents and with expiration dates that exceeded their original employment document to the extent those were even legit. Yes, you literally can't make this shit up. No, you can't. It's crazy, but you just can't make it up. Just can't. People need to learn the true definition of treason, aiding and abetting our enemies. You can't get more enemy-like than screaming death to America, just saying. Illinois has been corrupt over 100 years. It's beyond cancer. They can't just elect one or two people and think it's going to change. That's not how it works here. The culture is so embedded. And they will even continue to operate without leadership. Yeah. I had a feeling the Illinois audit was going to be a dumpster fire. Non-domiciled CDLs as a percentage of the first-time CDLs issued by Illinois. 40%. Wow, 40%. 40% of first-time CDLs, non-domiciled. Wow. Wowzer. Look at this one. Look at this story. Illegal arrested for randomly trying to drown a woman in Florida. She was walking on the beach when he came up behind her, dragged her into the ocean, and held her under the water until she stopped moving. Miraculously, she survived. Demon rats are protesting to protect him. Oh, of course they are. Of course they are.
When he was finally told that she was still alive and asked if he had any remorse in the whole scenario, his response was, "No, I don't feel nothing." That was his response. "No, I don't feel nothing."
That cold response, investigators say, came from Saeed Hernandez Gonzalez, accused of a random, brutal attack on a stranger at Stewart Beach near Tiger Shores. Deputies say late Thursday night, the victim was walking alone on a call with her sister when a man came up from behind, ripped her phone from her hand, threw it into the ocean, and dragged her into the water.
She punched him. She grabbed his groin area, trying to get him to release her. He said he just held her down until she went limp, at which point he thought she was deceased, and he let her go. He stated, "I thought I could not stop right now because I'd gone too far," so he continued choking her until she stopped moving.
Martin County Sheriff John Budensiek says the woman lost consciousness but survived, crawling out of the ocean and finding deputies.
When he was finally told that she was still alive and asked if he had any remorse in the whole
All right, never mind. We've listened to that already. Sorry about that. Forging Freedom says the lawfare has gotten completely out of hand. Imagine bringing a lawsuit so that you can continue to remove children's body parts. Insanity. Yes. Complete and total insanity. Complete and toto insanity. In toto. Sanity in toto. In toto insanity. Complete and total insanity. More from the sheriff. The illegal alien of Venezuelan national Saeed Alexander Hernandez Gonzalez has been charged with attempted first-degree murder.
Located the victim, the wife, the sister, distraught. Shortly after our deputies arrived at the Stewart Beach, Shortly after our deputies arrived at the Stewart Beach, they located the victim, the wife, the sister, distraught, extremely distraught, wet, with bruising on the side of her neck, bruising on the side of her face, and they started trying to piece together what had taken place. Our victim recounts that she was walking northbound along the beach, again, north of the Stewart Beach, and passed an individual. She really didn't pay him much mind, but she passed a guy that she described as tall. She couldn't describe color of skin. He never spoke to her at all during any of the encounter, but she really just dismissed him as she walked past, continuing to talk on the phone to her sister. And then she says about 5 minutes after passing him, she was brutally attacked. She was hit first, grabbed her on the throat, drug into the ocean, and then held down as she struggled to try to break free from this individual. This individual, according to her, held her down for an extended period of time. She was trying to time her breaths, pick her head up, get a breath, but he continued to fight with her until she went unconscious. And then the next thing she recalled was waking up, kind of laying on the beach, half in, half out of the water. Our suspect is a 26-year-old male from Venezuela whose name is Saeed Alexandra Hernandez Gonzalez. He's here illegally. He came initially, was on a work visa that expired. He's been here ever since illegally, and he's sitting in our jail right now on a attempted first-degree murder charge for trying to kill our victim there on Stewart Beach. He had no idea she was still alive.
Wow. Well, everybody, I want to thank everybody who was here tonight. It's been a great show. I will be doing a show, I believe, Thursday night, tomorrow night with Joe, I believe, as far as I know. And then Friday, Saturday should be shows. Sundays are rough. Mondays are rough too, but we'll see. So I'll hopefully see you all tomorrow night around 10 o'clock. Should be great. Thank you all for being here. Please remember to hit the like button on your way out. If you haven't already hit the like button, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And please come back to have Jim tell you the news.